Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Far Off Films podcast. I'm Deborah from the channel Borovania Man. Who else is here with me?
And I don't know. I don't know. I forgot your name. I'm Challengers
You stole my
from
thing.
Heavenly Creatures.
And I was gonna say, and I'm a heavenly creature. Welcome back to Borrow Film.
Yeah, there we go. I just forgot everyone's names. Okay, who are all the characters' names in Who was Zendaya's
Tashi
character's
Duncan.
name again?
Tashi.
Tashi, and then
Tashi
Art.
and then the
Patrick.
You got Art.
Art
and
is-
then you got Patrick.
Art is the blonde-haired one, and then Patrick
Yes.
is the one with the
No.
the homeless one. Okay, the hot
Yes.
homeless one.
Patrick looks like a fucking bum.
No, Patrick is
Yeah, he literally is a bum.
He
But,
is,
like,
kind of. They're both.
Fucking
they're both
Art's the
pretty
hot
hot.
one. Like,
They're
goddamn.
both pretty hot, but
What
I
Jules
like-
is
I like
saying is
Patrick
that the
more.
richer you are, the more attractive you are to.
Yeah, I'm really attracted
him,
to
that's what Jules is
fucking
saying.
Art because he's rich.
Wealth makes the difference. Well,
Wow.
wealth makes
Exactly.
the difference in a relationship.
Alrighty, well.
Do we want to get straight into challengers? We might as well.
Should we
if
just
we're
get
talking
to-
about
yeah.
it, unless Jules,
I don't know.
unless Jules
Yeah.
wants to talk about some other
No,
stupid
not
shit.
really.
So
I think we just get
okay, let's
fucking
get into
straight into the good shit. Luca,
let's
do you want to
just-
lead us off? Because this
let's
is your thing, obviously.
Yeah, jump right into challengers. Yeah.
Okay, I'll lead us off. We watched Challenges, the newest film from my personal favorite director, Luca Guadagnino. I think that's how you say it.
Close
after all
enough.
these years, I still know.
Yeah.
Don't know how to say his
Luca
name bloody
Guadagnino.
properly, but I'm pretty sure that's it. And yeah, Guadagnino, Guadagnino. And yeah, I mean, I love a lot of his films. They really connect with me, and this one was no exception. I fucking loved it. I was waiting for a movie to come out this year that I would love, and I mean, obviously, it was this one. I I just had like such a electrifying, intensive, like just such a satisfying theater experience watching this. Guys, I started a woo. Like it was like directed by Luca Guadagnino, and I was like woo, and then like the whole
Wow.
cinema started clapping. Like
I'm not gonna
started that
lie.
shit. That was
I'm not
really
gonna lie,
good.
though.
Yeah.
I love you and all, but like that fucking review was so fucking funny. Like that was like the way you were like and then I clapped, and then I was like, this is literally like how like
Oh, yeah.
a Marvel fan talks about like
I
the
clapped when I
portal
saw
scene in
Luca
Endgame.
Guadagnino.
Yeah, I don't even think I did
I don't give a
But that was
I
your
don't even think I
equivalent.
did that for
I
like
clapped.
the latest Miyazaki.
Yeah.
So, but I'm proud.
I'll do that
I'm
when,
happy the fact that you're
Megalopolis
happy.
comes out.
You'll do that at Furiosa.
Oh yeah, no, I'll do that for Furiosa. So
Oh,
that's
yeah.
gonna be hype.
Yeah, but yeah, who cares if it's a bit cringe? We're all allowed to be a little bit cringe for the things we love. We're all a little cringe sometimes. But yeah, I really love this film. I think it was outstanding in all of its aspects. I love the performances. I love the music. I love the visuals. I loved it all. It sank in and it just hit me so hard. And yeah, Jules took me on a wild emotional journey.
Oh yeah, you tell the story.
Okay. So, like, originally, you know, me and Jules were getting so hyped. We were like, damn, these posters are so sick. We were like, the day's coming up. And then, like, Jules was like, oh, I'm seeing it today. And then, like, couldn't see it. And then Jules was like, okay, I'm gonna see it today. And then couldn't see it again. And I was like, Jules, come on. And then Jules was like, bro, my grandma saw it before me, and we were just sitting there, and we were like, damn, dude, like, even Jules' grandma is seeing challenges before us, like, what's happening? And then eventually, Jules,
No,
managed
no,
to see
no. Talk about like
them
the
and
few
then-
like days
and-
before
and-
that, like with the COVID
okay,
scare.
so then Jules was like, okay, today's the day. And I was like, yes. And then Jules just sends me, just out of nowhere, just says, it's Jova. And I was like, what do you mean? What do you mean it's Jova? You can't do this to me. And then Jules sends me a screenshot saying that, like, the friend that he wanted to go see it with maybe
Well, no,
had
it's just that they were a
COVID.
close contact.
And I was
It's
like,
just that they were a close
"Nah,
contact of
Jules,
someone who had
come
COVID."
on." Oh, okay, they were in close contact. And I was like, I was being a bit of an ass. I was like, Jules, just go by yourself. Come on, dude, for Guadalquivir.
And then she was like, okay, but
and
that was
then-
on, yeah, because that was on the
I
Friday,
guess-
and
I
then
guess
she was like,
everything was
okay, I'm negative today. If I'm negative tomorrow and on Sunday, which is today, I'll go see it.
So you
and
saw
then
it, like,
yeah, she
literally
was negative.
today?
So yeah,
Right.
we went. Yes,
Okay.
I saw it about 6 hours ago.
Wow.
Yeah, I was the
And then Jules didn't even love it.
Yeah.
As
Lucas
much as
sent me
I
a
did.
message.
So-
Lucas sent me a message at the exact same time,
emotional
being
roller
like,
coaster that,
"Oh,
like,
I know you're gonna love it." Like just as I got out of it, and then I just said to her like, "I have."
yeah, and then Jules was like, I have bad news.
yeah.
We were
remember in the
acting
begin-
just as dramatic as they were in the movie
Yeah.
about this whole thing. Like, Jules was leading me on. Jules was like sending me the most cryptic stuff, like it's Jova and I have bad news. ... And
Yeah, no, I was like, I
Jules,
saw
what
it.
do you mean?
However,
like literally, like yeah, like there was so much melodrama between us, and as much as we were acting about drama queens, it's fine, it's chilled.
Yeah. Meanwhile, I was
obviously loved it, and that's all that matters. Guadalquivir, the best. Love you. Yeah. What did you guys think?
Yeah. So I was the first person to watch the movie, which just
Oh
is
yes,
the
there
most
was even
Yeah.
more drama.
Yeah, which was the most ironic-
because
it was just the most ironic shit ever because like I'm not like I don't really care for Luca Guadagnino as much as either of these two, so it's just like whatever, you know. I will probably give it a 7. It'll probably be decent, and then I'll just go home and move on with my life.
yeah.
But then I saw the movie and I was like, wow, this is really this was a lot better than I was expecting. Like this, I'm really into this. And yeah, then I got home and I was like, yeah, it's like a high 8. I'll probably give it a 9 later. But then you guys were just like screaming at me, just like give it a 9, and I was like, okay, sure. I mean, it didn't take that
This is
much
before we
convincing. I
even
was
saw
already
it, by
yeah.
the
This
way.
was before.
yeah, but I mean, you were
guys
like, just oh,
you guys
maybe
saw it. You
maybe
guys
it's
were
a
like-
9, and I was like, fuck,
You
just
guys were
give it a
treating
9
it like.
then.
Just,
You guys
yeah,
were
we were just like, come
you guys
on,
were treating
dude.
it like it was like the second of Coming of Jesus, even though you two have never seen it yet.
Oh,
So it was really
For
it was
me.
like
For me, it
like
was.
like watch the movie first, then you can tell me, you know. But it was funny where you guys were like, "This is a beautiful like picture of the mountaintop or whatever," but
Yeah,
this 9 out
I
of
just
10 is
happened to
more
be on
beautiful
top of a
or
mountain
something
at the
like that.
time.
And I was like, yeah. So yeah, it was literally the
I
Pedro Pascal Wonder Woman meme where it's like, this is good.
It can
but
be better.
it could be better or something like that. I don't. Yeah, it can be better. Yeah. So
yeah, seeing that
yeah, I
brought
love.
joy to my eyes. So Timmy and Jules swap brains for this recording, guys. I don't know what happened.
Yeah, you're
but it's
named.
fine. At least I have someone on my
Yeah,
side.
we are named. We swap bodies. We swap places. We did a your name. So
But,
yeah, I loved it. I was surprisingly into it. I think maybe part of the reason why I loved it was just because like Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross's score was just such a fucking
Banger.
like killer sound. Like holy shit, it was really weird because like in any other movie, this like weird EDM house dance music type like style of like music for essentially just a tennis movie, like on paper doesn't sound like it would work at all. Like it doesn't seem like it would like mesh well together. Like it seems like those two types of like things would clash against each other, but it honestly worked not only very, very well, like it actually enhanced a lot of the moments of the film as well. Like I think like the last like half hour of this movie is like genuinely incredible. I think not just like the way the music is incorporated into like the final tennis match between Art and Patrick, but just like the way it was shot too. Like there were like certain shots in the film where I was like, how the fuck did you do that?
CGI.
Like I am the type of person where I fucking hate GoPro shots, but this movie somehow made GoPro shots work. Like it somehow like made it not cheap, not like hackish. Like it actually like fit what was going on, and like the way that like the camera would like bounce around as if it was like the actual ball, like if it's like fucking B movie or some shit. Like it was genuinely impressive. Like I was like, I want to know how you pulled that off. Like that seems like insanely
I think it
difficult.
was
Like it's
CGI.
not like, you know, something like say like a Clockwork Orange, you know. Maybe, I wouldn't be surprised, but it's not like a Clockwork Orange where they just threw a fucking camera out the window and then just use that footage, you know? Like I'm sure like there was some level of coordination going on, you know? So, but yeah, it's just it was a really exciting, like that last, like the movie is worth watching for that last half hour alone. The last half hour of this movie is just fucking incredible. I would buy another ticket for the movie just so I could re-experience
I'm
that
gonna
last
watch
half
it
hour.
again
Yeah.
because yeah, I agree. Like absolute like pure like what's the word? Like is it
Adrenaline?
serotonin or just pure like dopamine? Yeah,
Yeah.
adrenaline. Yeah, like just pure like my goodness. Like and it's weird because in that like last half an hour like things linger on for so much but it never felt boring for me at all. Like I was like completely
Oh,
into it
same here. I
100%
was
of the time. I loved how melodramatic it was. I loved like how fucking yeah, it
I
was
so an
just
interesting
like
thing
there was like
so an
yeah.
interesting thing for me is that I saw this movie very late. Like I saw like the last showing on, I think it was Saturday when I saw it. And it was like a 9:45 showing, so like by the time the movie was over it would have been like midnight, and I was like, "Oh god, like
You're gonna have like you thought you were gonna
I
have the
think I
worst
made a
crowd.
mistake. I don't want to like not no, I was just worried I was going to fall asleep
Ah,
because I
okay.
was like very tired at that point. I thought I was going to fall asleep. I thought I was going to be bored or whatever. And you know, but like I was so laser focused throughout the entire film that like I didn't once feel bored or
Yeah.
tired at all. Like I was like, by the time the movie was over, I was like, wow, that was 2 hours. Like that went by. Like I feel so
I
energized. Like I don't need
know.
coffee anymore. If I need to stay awake, I don't need coffee. I'll just watch
I was
fucking
also
Challengers.
very
You know, like it.
tired. Like I was up like since like there's even a message like I think from Jules Jules like wow you're up early like because I was up like really early. I don't know if it was excitement for the film. I also just couldn't really sleep, but I was like up early. So I was also pretty tired, but like once I left that cinema, I was filled with so much
Yeah,
energy. I was like, "Oh my goodness, guys, do you want to go back
I've
in?"
been
Like, because I watched it at like 6, so we came out at 8, and there was an 8:30 showing. I
Oh
was
my
so
god.
tempted. I was so tempted
Yeah,
to
if
run
there
it
was
back.
another showing like right
Uh,
after, if it wasn't the last showing, I probably would have done that as well. But yeah, but in the meantime,
yeah.
I've been playing the soundtrack while working out at the gym. It is such a great workout music
I'm gonna
too,
try
and
that
it really
tomorrow.
is. Like it actually is appropriate. You know, it's not like when I'm it's not like when I'm listening to like the fucking like opening theme from Mary and Max or like the Comsus or Todd from End of Ava, where it's like this is inappropriate to listen to
Have you guys
while
ever
working out,
have you
but I'm
ever
still gonna do it because
have you guys
it
ever
gives me
listened to the
adrenaline.
Revenant score while working out?
No,
I have not,
I'm not
no, but
familiar.
that seems like it would be
Yeah,
pretty
it really
Yeah,
gets you
it
going.
sounds
like
scary.
you're running from a bear, like that's what gets you working out,
To be fair, I don't think there was music during that bear scene in
Yeah,
The Revenant, so there isn't any music that coordinates
no,
with that.
no.
I know
Yeah,
where.
so anyway, yeah. More the long story short, yeah, I loved it. I'll get into more
Yeah.
details later, but Jules, go ahead. Tell us why
Okay.
you hated it for some
Now,
reason.
yeah, I know I'm the minority on this. That I should just say right out of the gate that I liked the film. I did like the film, but it also really like frustrated me a lot. Like there was a lot of times where I was just like very frustrated by choices that were made, whether it was in like the writing or also just the way the film was kind of executed in a way. Like I, it's I don't know where I should start with this, but I suppose I think the thing that I was like I disliked the most of the film was just I think the structure of it, the non-linear structure of it, really did not work for me because I felt like I said this in my review, but there's like a certain distance kept from the characters where it's like the you don't really I don't really feel much motivation or like attachment to them, like more than what the film is telling me to feel. Like I can feel like the very competitiveness for this like woman's like affection and attention basically, and then and also that she's like basically the reason we don't see anything about her is she's like a blank canvas for them to project anything that they want onto her, basically, like whatever they need her to be, just her attention, basically. But also because of that, we don't really learn much about her, and she's too much of a blank canvas. Like, I don't really understand. I'm very confused as to why she's even trying to control them, like what she even thinks of them, what her true feelings towards any of them are. So at the end of it, I don't really end up feeling attached to these characters, even though I think they're all performed like excellently. Like, all the performances are great. Apart from, I think Zendaya's, I think, has a lot of weakness as an actor. Like, she's never. This is like her best performance by far.
I would say she's the worst actress of the.
Yeah, I think so
I would
too.
say she's the worst actress of the three, even though she still gave a good
I think also that she's when she has to like. She the best scenes in the film, I'm sure you guys will agree, are the ones where she's angry, like the bit where she like slaps the guy's cigarette out and goes like, "How fucking dare you!" Like, yeah, like that's a great scene. But I think that when she doesn't when she's not showing anger, I think like that's kind of where her weaknesses as an actress are. 'Cause she doesn't really convey, or she doesn't really, that role doesn't feel lived in when she has to be like emotional in other ways, or calm in other ways. Like, it doesn't feel like I'm not getting like that character is like very real, very lived in, very like they have a lot going on, or they've had a lot going on, or they're doing stuff, like they're just kind of there. Like, because I think for a movie where it's obviously about like a love triangle of people falling in and out of love with each other, like kind of like a tennis game going back and forth, like their affections are going up and down and blah blah blah. Like, it's a strangely one-sided film, because a love triangle implies that everyone has like their angle, but she doesn't really have an angle. Like, they're both vying for her. Like, she's not vying back and forth for one of them, at least that I can see, because I think it's all very muddled.
See, I disagree with that. I disagree with the notion that she's too much of a blank slate. I feel like, damn, I can't believe I'm defending a Guadagnino film, but here we go. I disagree with the idea that,
Come on,
like,
Timmy, let's do this.
I disagree with the idea that she's too much of a blank slate. I do agree with parts of what you're saying, where it's like a lot of her backstory is purposely kept blank, because you're right, like she's just like a symbol for both Art and Patrick to like project their desires,
their needs,
their lusts, whatever, onto her. Yeah, their needs. But I feel like she's still on her own, has her own character. She's still on her own, has like her own goals and motivations, because like, and her goals is just to win, to be the best, to be
control.
Like the queen of tennis or whatever, not the prince of tennis. That's an anime. But she loves winning. She loves winning. She loves winning above all else. And it's why, like, when she gets that injury, like at like college or whatever, like it's incredibly heartbreaking, not just for well, that scene itself was super gross, but like it's an incredibly powerful scene for her character as well, because like she has been hyped up as this like, oh, the next, like, I don't know much about tennis, but the next the next big thing in tennis or whatever, she's going to be whatever, and and you can see that, like, in the opening, like, tennis match that Art and Donald watch, like, after they win their doubles, they were like, oh my god, I'm gonna come, or something, or whatever they said.
I would let her fuck me with a racket.
And, and she clearly, like, and she flexes her, like, her tennis skills, but once she has that injury, like, that's it for her. Like, she can't pursue her dream of being the best. She can't pursue her dream of being this god tier winner or whatever. So the next best thing she can do is kind of use her white boys, as she says, like, she uses them as a means of projecting her own goals and her own desires onto the characters. Like, she tried that with Patrick, but like Patrick is too much of a rebel. He's too much of an individual. He's too much of a no. Like, I want to talk about things other than tennis, but she's like, but tennis is all I care about, and if you don't want to talk about tennis, then we're not talking about then we're not talking about anything. I thought that was a really great line, like they were gonna have sex, but then he's like, can we talk about anything but tennis? And that like turns her off, because that's all she cares about, that's all she thinks about. And then and once she realizes that Patrick isn't a good, canvas for her to like, for her to paint, she switches to Art, who's much more manipulative, who's much more like willing to do like a bunch, like Art literally will not do anything without her permission. Like that's how much he values like her opinion and her thoughts, because like he knows like once he retires, like once he stops being a tennis player, like they're done. They'll have nothing to like to love for anymore, because that's the whole reason why they were even together in the first place, um was because Zendaya straight up said like, I want to win, and she was attracted to Art because he was like, I don't want you as my coach because you're my friend, I want you as my coach because I want to win. And she realizes that, oh, Art is the more logical and more easy to manipulate person out of the two, because I can actually like use him to win tournaments and become the best and blah 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 and all this other stuff. But and it explains why like their relationship is so loveless. It's because like once he's on this losing streak, she no longer has that same. Yeah, it becomes much more of like a business relationship than a personal or romantic one. Like the passion that they had. Like,
well, yeah, the relationship was the coach and the player. It
the
wasn't
boyfriend
like
and the girlfriend.
It wasn't a boyfriend girlfriend type thing.
Husband and
yeah,
wife.
like it makes sense. Like the opening like says a lot. Like even though Art is the tennis player, he's still asleep. Like at bed, he's like ignoring his alarm clock. Meanwhile, Zendaya's already up and she's already dressed and she's already like done everything that she needs to do. It's like it says so much without having to say a lot of dialogue. And it's like, and I love how like this tennis match between Art and Patrick is just as important to them as it is to Zendaya's character Tashi, because she's trying to see if Art is still worth her time, so that she can continue pursuing her dream of being the best, of being a winner, So I have other things to say besides that, but yeah, I would say I reject your opinion about her being a complete blank slate.
She is just like Timmy was going, and she just I guess Jules also said it, like she just wants
she kind of does a shit ass job of it.
But also another thing that she mentions in the film.
Yeah, she says she's not a home wrecker, but she like clearly enjoys her position as that.
She says like pretty early on. She was like, I just want to see some good fucking tennis, and that is finally what she gets at the end, and it takes her like completely destroying these two fucking guys, but them kind of realizing within each other that they're too good for her to finally get what she wants.
Yeah.
And like that is the perfect like symbol of like how she definitely is a homewrecker, because like if they just lived their little like lily-dally life, like them just being bros, like everything would have been completely fine, like if she was never in their lives, but she like destroyed it so like played them around so much. But at the end there, like when she like starts like shouting, like that is the first amount like of pleasure.
Yeah, it's the first time she really feels like, oh, I'm watching some good fucking tennis. None of those boys
were able to satisfy her.
Yeah, like she doesn't even care if like
time. She's like,
she doesn't even care if like they both hate
she doesn't care that she lost them.
She just saw some great tennis. Finally. Yeah, it's why she like screams like come on, like at the end, because she found that spark that she lost so many years. And it's funny you mentioned that like both Patrick and Art were like, we're too good for you, like we're leaving you after this game or whatever. That scene kind of reminded me of the opening scene of Saw 3D, where like
there is no correlation, none at all.
Both of those guys. No, hear me out. Have you guys seen Saw 3D?
I know exactly what Timmy's fucking talking about.
Yeah, the scene with like the two girls like decide who to kill, to save the girlfriend that's dating both of them. They were like, "We're breaking up with you, Amy," or whatever, as she like gets killed by a buzzsaw. It's the exact same thing, but with tennis instead of death traps.
When he put the ball in between the racket, like when Patrick does it, like I absolutely lost my mind. I was like, that no fucking way. And then Art does it back to him, and they're both like smiling at each other, and like I lost my shit. I didn't scream or anything, but I was just like, this like in my mind. I was like, it's me. This is the type of fucking melodrama bullshit that I love. I thought that was perfect. It made me feel so satisfied. I'm about like I kind of not in to this extent at all. But in my life, I've kind of experienced something where like I've just had to come to realization with a friend of mine that like this other person in my life is just not that great of a person. Yeah, like someone that was like a relationship potential for like both of us. And like just coming to terms
You lived
like
this film.
with that with your friend when you both realize it. It's like such a powerful experience, and like I think they convey that perfectly. And also, I love that ending because when Patrick confronts
That's my favorite scene.
Art in the sauna, he was like, I really just and he was like, I really just miss playing tennis with you, and they finally get that at the end, and like just proving like how awful she was in their lives, because when they're just being bros, just playing tennis with each other, that is like the moment that satisfies them all the most, like all three of them. And
yeah, it's a real
incredible stuff.
It's a real
there.
bros before hoes type movie. Yeah.
And obviously added with like the tonal tension and the visuals and the music, it all just crescendoed together so perfectly.
Yeah,
for me. I
cannot understate how great the score for this movie is. It is phenomenal. Like I cannot underscore how great it is. Like just listen to the soundtrack on Spotify. Like that alone is like it is like
we were cutting off
great
stuff.
Oh yeah, but I was just gonna say, as much as I have my gripes with the movie, I think the ending is fucking just terrific. I think it's amazing. Like it's a great crescendo.
Really
other than
great.
the fact that I think that the movie it tries too hard. The word I keep using is like flashy, but like I don't think that a lot of those like very unique shots that he was clearly experimenting with, like the POV shots and the one shot where the camera kind of becomes the ball, like I didn't really like that. I didn't really like those shots, to be honest, because like I felt like it takes too much energy away from the fact that this should be like an absolutely like raw, competitive, like just intense, like natured thing. But it's like when you put the camera in, like make it an object in there, basically, like you make it part of the scene, like. I think you're losing focus on what the scene is about. Like I think he with that POV as the ball shot, I think he should have cut that down by half at least. Like just like whack, he serves it and then he whacks it back. Like that went on for too long. I thought.
I think conceptually those shots were really cool, and I still really love the look of them. But I think that was my one small problem with the film, is like it did look just a bit goofy at some points. The POV shot.
Yeah.
But everything.
I feel like I was
was
watching
phenomenal. I love the close-ups of the legs. Them like
that's the sort of thing I was looking for, like those leg
legs,
shots, those
like,
racket bashing shots,
like
those. That rawness, that intensity, that like sheer competitiveness and like emotion in that. Yeah, and
this is one of the few movies where like slow-mo actually like helps the movie too, because there's like a bunch of slow-mo shots like towards the end of the movie where like there's just slow-mo of like art's like sweat like dripping down his like nose
those
and
ones
his
were
head
good,
or
but like
whatever, and I was like, Jesus,
the ones of like Zendaya just like kind of walking down the alley in slow motion and stuff, I was a bit like, okay, I don't quite see like why these are necessary.
Yeah, that one just became more like, all right,
it's like, I guess.
Yeah, that one, those slow-mo shots, I was like, okay, Zack Snyder was here, he took over, and he was just like, he just couldn't fucking help himself, I guess. So I didn't have a problem with the ball POV shot. I was so mesmerized by that shot in particular that I didn't really care how long it went.
No, I also thought it was really sick.
If we're gonna talk critique on like the cinematography, though, the only time the cinematography actually bothered me was when like they used actual GoPro shots, like they were just like shooting, like it was like they had a camera on like Art and like
Yeah, that
Patrick's
was a
like
bit
body
weird.
or whatever.
I
They had like
was like, why?
camcorders or some
What
shit.
is the
Like,
need
yeah.
for this?
Like,
Yeah. No, those were actually what
Yeah,
I was
like,
thinking
can-
of. I did like the ball one actually. You reminded me.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was the ones where like the camera was right.
Yeah,
on
it was
them
like
that
some
would
weird
look a
like
bit
fucking
creepy.
like crank hardcore Henry type moment. And
Yeah,
I was like,
what the hell
what
is
the
going
fuck
on?
is this? Like, you did not need
Like,
to
well, yeah,
do
why
that.
does this look like fucking hardcore
Yeah,
Henry all of a
so-
sudden?
Um, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Just like, but that was the only time the cinematography like bothered me, because every other moment the way the film is shot is so excellent. Like even like dialogue scenes
Yeah, I
have
agree.
so much
I
energy.
agree.
Like they're constant, the characters are constantly talking about how like everything's like a tennis match, and what makes everything like a tennis match is like it feels like a passionate like argument going back and forth, like you have this like very specific relationship with like two individual players that you just can't feel in any other setting. And like once, I think it was Tachi who said that, like once she says that, like the camera starts like transforming into that style of cinematography where, like, for example, in the argument scene between him and between her and Patrick, like when they were about to have sexy time with each other, like it like bounces back and forth as if it was like a tennis match, as if like the
Yes.
camera was the ball that they're hitting back and
I-
forth. And there's a ton of that throughout like most other dialogue scenes, and I was
Kind of
like,
the film
damn, this
itself
is
as
cool,
well,
this
like the
is
structure
awesome.
of
Like
it.
I'm not like, yeah, like the whole structure is like a
it's
tennis
bouncing
match. It's
back.
like
And
bouncing
obviously
back and forth,
the
because
love
some scene,
triangle bouncing between the boys.
yeah, like it's some scenes it's her
yeah.
and Art, some scenes it's her and like the first like the second act of this movie is just mainly her and Art, but then like the third act is just like her and Patrick, and it's just like, damn, this whole movie is just a fucking tennis match, and I couldn't be happier about it. I was just like, this is awesome.
I mean,
this is
I don't know.
so
Yeah,
cool.
I really like the choice to use.
It's a very good
like, I
subject
think
matter.
It's a weird like it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a very good subject matter. Like even with the game in tennis by itself, like minus all the like symbolism that you can do with it. Like even the game itself, like they use love as like a point of scoring system.
15 love.
And like yeah, 15 love. And also like in tennis, like you see it in the movie, but like when they're actually playing, like the characters like make these moans, and like that's like what people do in real tennis, and it's like it's such an, and like even just on a surface level it feels like a very like romantic kind of like lustful kind of sport, and in a weird way, and this film like cranked it up. Like I originally thought that this film was going to be more about like actual like romance and sex and stuff. I didn't expect there to actually be so much tennis, but there was a lot of tennis, and I was really engaged.
The tennis scene
was
and it
like-
ties into that idea where like the tennis was the relationship.
Yeah, when
the tennis,
when
yeah,
people talk about this
like-
movie being sexy, like I feel like they're kind of they're missing the point in that. Like, yeah, like the threesome was just so hot,
Well,
so, but like the tennis in of itself is just as sexy as like, a lot of like any like sex scenes in the film, like they make tennis like this like this
Yeah.
sexy sport that like is just,
And that was the
yeah,
point.
and that's the
That
point.
was the
Yeah, it's like
point.
dripping
Yeah.
with like eroticism, like, and they intentionally
Yeah.
did that, to make the sport seem as sexy as like sex itself. And I'm just like, damn, who needs sex when you can just hit balls around with your bros,
Like,
So
did you guys want to go hit like some
Not
tennis
really.
balls after this movie? Because I did. Like, I wanted to get a racket and just like go like slam.
Maybe
some
for
shit,
a bit,
Like,
but then I was
the
just-
film made me want to. Do
maybe
that,
for a bit, but then I just remembered I'm so fucking overweight and unathletic that I just didn't want to bother. So
just for fun, just to like go smash some rackets, like this film made me feel.
Oh my
like,
God,
so,
I can
wow,
smash
like,
shit.
alive, like,
yes,
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
I think to be honest,
yeah.
in terms of like the sexiness that people were talking about, I thought the movie was fucking tame, to be honest. Like, I think that they acted like the film was more kind of erotic or sexy than it was. But I think you're kind of going off the wrong track, Timmy, when you're talking about like the non kind of like tennis scenes, and you're just kind of talking about the threesome scene. But I'm talking about like the way that each conversation is kind of has like it's kind of like underpinnings and double meanings and like mind games to it, where it's just like this like it's basically like flirting competitively almost, but it's like I don't really fucking like I'm not feeling that, like, because like this is another thing that has just frustrated me with the structure of the film, because I think the fact that we're just kind of like it's assembled like a puzzle basically, where we get like a new piece of information, but it's like that means it's also kind of like just rug pulling us every scene, and it's kind of bouncing back and forth, and then I don't really feel like this thing is basically like an epic, like, pretty much, because it's like it's told over like a decade, and
I just think,
but then it doesn't feel like a kind of like a long tale of like just like people, which it's obviously not trying to be, but it's like it doesn't feel like three people falling in and out of love and like maybe like feeling like coming to terms with their sexual fluidity and stuff. Like it feels like very much like a series of like almost random encounters, like the bit where he actually, no, that's not a good example, but like I think compare. Oh yeah, no, you go.
There was definitely
yeah, but I mean,
I think there was definitely a purpose, because I mean, like, there's even moments in the film where like you like get really into the music or really into the scene and it just cuts off. I think essentially I think the film is just like, with lack of a better word, it's just trying to get you the whole way through. Like it's trying to work you up, get you. Trying to get you to like a certain point, and then it just doesn't let you have it right until the very end.
That's what makes it satisfying.
How maybe all of the characters feel.
But it's also just
like and that's why like the reincorporation of dialogue and the ending is like so satisfying, because you finally like get like I have not been so satisfied in a long time by a film having like recurring imagery and recurring dialogue and stuff like that. Like it just it keeps you on edge the whole time, and like it doesn't let you like fully get satisfied with it until those last few moments.
Yeah,
I mean,
and
to be honest,
I really appreciated that about it. Like it kept me writing. It kept me wanting more.
Yeah, it's why I actually.
That's what it did.
It's why I actually liked the non chronological order of the film too, because it also felt like it like. Oh, you can't have this yet. You can't have that big tennis moment. We gotta jump back and forth. It's
gatekeeping the.
It's a gatekeeping film.
It's like it's being controlled. The film controlled you. It didn't let you have control.
The whole movie felt like Tashi Duncan. Like she was controlling the narrative just as much as she was.
This is the Tashi cut of the movie.
The Tashi cut.
Yeah, I mean, going back to the whole like sexiness thing, the only kind of bit that I felt like was like a very much like it conveyed what it intended, was like the way that weather was used in the film to kind of convey this feeling of like lust and eroticism, like when he's in the car and like there's this giant like storm blowing and stuff, or when they're talking on the bed and there's like the wind outside that you can hear. Like I think that's a very, very, very smart like way of conveying like kind of eroticism, like horniness basically. But also I think at the same time the way that this movie, like the characters in this movie, as I said before at the start, like there's a distance between us and them, but because like I it's very kind of hard for me to decipher. Like I'm feeling very confused as to what these characters want and what they are feeling. Like sometimes it's like, well, I mean, how do I describe this? Like, they never fucking, like, they don't change and evolve until the very, very, very end in that last scene at the tennis match from, like, that makeout in the hotel room scene, which is, like, the fucking defining moment of the film, which is, like, they reveal, like, who they are, basically. But they don't completely work, and that's, like, essential for the whole film to work, and then everything, like, it doesn't feel for the audience, like, what they're feeling, like, I don't know. It doesn't organic. They don't feel organically driven in a way. If you know what I'm saying. Like the script is telling me, it's not showing me like why these people are feeling why they are. But it's also emphasizing like this is like a very kind of erotic like nature, like but it's also like it's also very ham-fisted as well. Also in like certain scenes, even like when they're fucking like the scene with the fucking churros, or like where he like eats the fucking banana or something. Like it's like
That was
Yeah.
hot.
yeah, it's like I'm
When they
yeah,
shared the churro, that was hot.
I'm not trying to fucking sound like Family Guy here, but it's like there's an insistence on something that I don't.
You said Family Guy, and I immediately turned it.
It's telling me to feel
okay, now
something that
see
I
what
feel like
yeah,
isn't.
go ahead. Sorry, I didn't mean to
It's
interrupt.
telling me
Yeah.
to feel something that I feel like isn't there. Like it seems to be confident that there's something is there, but it's not. So then the characters basically fall flat because of it. Like I don't really. I think as much as I found like Patrick to be like charming and stuff, like he has that really good fucking like smirk. He's like his emotional kind of underpinnings of like what he wants are kind of elusive to me. Basically, like I'm like I don't really understand like what your angle is. Like what are you trying to do here? So then I don't really feel like the really competitive like desirable nature between the three of them. Like I'm just like what's your angle here? Like what are you trying to achieve? And I think that is
Insists upon itself, Lois.
yeah, it insists upon itself, Lois. But yeah, I mean,
I was waiting for you to say it. That's why yeah. So,
I think that's a fucking it's a fundamental failure of the film. Like when I feel like it's telling me to feel something that just isn't there. Like it's insisting something, but it's not building this thing organically. Like I don't know these characters. Like their relationship isn't organic. It doesn't feel lived in. So what is there? Like basically. Yeah, that was kind of my long rant. I think a good comparison. I made this comparison in my review is Y Tu Mamá También. Like the way that film like which is it's like a kind of a three-way film as well, because that film is like a road film. It's like they're going on this journey. They're gaining these feelings for this woman, perhaps for themselves, and it's like the very like feeling of like lust and like horniness and like they just want to like live life, fuck, like do all this shit. Like it's conveyed so much better through this structure because you're on the journey with them and you feel like there's a very simple-minded goal. Like for them, they have to fuck, but they're also on this journey and they're discovering themselves on the way. Like, and then I don't think like Challenges like has that as much as it seems to want to or thinks it does.
I didn't really get that from the film.
me
Like,
neither.
I do agree. I think like the characters in Y Tu Mamá También are way more compelling than the ones in Challenges But I think that like Challenges isn't really like trying to do that with its characters.
Yeah,
I
they're two definitely
just
different
trying to
films,
be, like,
obviously.
this like crazy love triangle, like it's like Challenges is definitely trying to be like melodramatic and like
not seriously,
take itself
yeah,
super seriously and like just,
both of those movies
like,
have different
fun,
goals.
sexy,
Yeah.
like
Y Tu Mamá También has
kind of.
Y Tu Mamá También has very different goals from Challengers. Like the only comparison between the two is that there's a love triangle, but the context
you can kind
of
of
the love
there's
triangle
a
and
lot
like,
of comparisons
the
you can make
goals of
with
the characters
the
are
two
like
male
different
characters,
though.
honestly, in both of those films.
No, I definitely, I totally understand why Jules is bringing this up, but I think that's like if I wanted to watch like a coming of age, like people forming their sexuality movie, like I would.
I think this film is fundamentally about that as well.
But if I just wanted some like adrenaline, blood pumping, like, I think to an extent, but I think it was
the
more,
control
like,
angle,
sort of the
obviously, but it's like
from Zendaya and like this idea
Yeah,
that,
the
this idea that tennis is like this like game that means much more in these people's lives than it should to
Y Tu
someone.
Mamá También is about two friend boys who become men, who grow up, who like learn more about their sexuality through this love triangle, through their like shared love for this hot MILF, and like, but in Challengers in this one, like again, like the context is different because like that's not really what they're going for. There is elements of that, there is elements of like, Art and Patrick, like growing up and like having their own coming of age, but it's like Lucas said, it's more about control and the two characters like being freed from that control, like breaking free from that,
From that
but yeah,
grasp,
from that grass,
yeah.
like that's what the what makes the ending so powerful isn't just, oh, they finally grew up and like became, friends again or whatever, it's also just like them realizing that like, man, like this game is important, but not for the reasons we initially thought. Like it was important for
Yeah.
Art at
Yeah.
first because his career is at a slump, and he just wanted an easy match for him to get back on top, and like and Patrick's reasoning for for this match is that he's down on his luck. He's poor. He doesn't have money, and he just like he needs that one win so that he can finally get back to being on top like he wanted to. But towards the end, they realize, man, this game isn't that important. It's just two bros playing tennis, and they realize that like,
Let's just have fun
yeah,
with
like
it.
they just
Yeah.
have fun. Like they only added stakes to this game purely because Tashi insisted that there were stakes added to this game. But once they realize that like Tashi's just been controlling and manipulating them the whole
Yeah,
time, like it
yeah,
just becomes
definitely.
like a fun, friendly game of tennis, between two bros. So like I understand where you're coming from with the Itu Matambien comparison, but I think like, and there are like similarities for sure, but I think like the end goal, like what they're trying to go for with the love triangle in both are different from each other, which is why I don't think it's fair to compare the two when they're going for different things is what I'm saying. I'm not saying you're wrong. I definitely see.
I think you can compare
Yeah,
them.
there
I
definitely
think you
are
can.
comparisons, but I'm just saying
I
like,
get where Jules
yeah,
is
I'm just
coming
saying that
from.
they have different goals in mind is is all I'm saying.
I
Yeah,
just
I mean,
think
for
that
sure,
like
definitely.
Luca does this like the ending of this film in ways kind of felt like things that you experience in like a bigger splash and like the very end of I Am Love, where like he's just able to build to like this spectacle, this like melodramatic like spectacle so much, like this crescendo, and I that's just something that I personally resonate with. I love the style, obviously, and like yeah, I just had a blast watching this film. I had an absolute blast. Like yeah, I just think it just blew me. It just blew me away. I absolutely adored it. I mean, I was bound to,
Yeah, contractually
the
obligated.
first Guadagnino film I'm seeing in cinemas since like Suspiria, which kind of like got me on this journey from the beginning, like
Yeah, I still haven't seen it. I'll
but
watch it
like
at some. I'll
yeah,
watch it
It's
at some
good.
point. Yeah.
but yeah, like
No. Sorry.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's real good. And yeah, just when I think of the like final shots, like endings of all of his films, I'm like, God damn, like yeah, this man can build to an ending extremely well, extremely well.
Oh my god,
Last shot of
amazing.
Call Me by Your Name, last shot of I Am Love, last shot of Suspiria, like all some of the greatest.
I mean, I
things,
think-
like ever.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is.
I was gonna say, I feel like this is
Oh,
his
yeah.
most like literal ending because he often like works in a kind of like almost metaphorical way, in his like the emotional complexities
Oh,
of his
yeah,
films. But I think
definitely.
this was the first time that like his film kind of ended in a very like, oh, like this is like actually happening kind of way. If you know what I mean?
This is like one of the first times his film ends in a way where like it actually feels like it
First
ends,
Luca
you know?
Guadagnino happy
'Cause,
ending.
like his yeah, like I Am Love and like Call Me by Your Name.
I mean,
those
Call Me by
films
Your Name has a
end,
happy ending.
but like it doesn't feel like it's the end of the journey
Yeah.
for like the characters.
Yeah, it's kind of leaving now.
Like the characters
Or,
could live
like-
on forever after the.
No, yeah, like they could live on with like the information that we've been presented to them, and like, but like when I see this film, like I don't think of anything beyond it. I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
that's the end. This is all the film needed to give to me, and I am satisfied by that, and it ended perfectly, And yeah, it's not my favorite Guadagnino. I still love Call Me by Your Name and I Am Love far more than this film. But I still just was taken away by this one. Absolutely fantastic. One of the easiest 10 out of 10s I've given in a while. Just, yeah, great stuff from my end. I loved it.
Well,
Yeah.
I think this might be my favorite Guadagnino film because I haven't really enjoyed.
Woo! Nice.
Yeah, because I'm gonna be honest, I haven't really enjoyed any of his movies nearly to this extent. Because as I said before, I kind of went in with like kind of middling expectations. I was like, it'll probably be good, but I'm not gonna. It'll probably be the same thing that I felt when I was watching Bones and All or I Am Love, where I was just like, okay, that was decent, that was good, I guess, but I'm never gonna like think about this again. This one, I was just like, holy, I'm literally, it's literally like the Uncut Gems gif. It's like, holy shit, I'm gonna come. It's like it's that like that's how it was feeling for like a good chunk of this movie. Like it was just. Yeah, I was so into it. I was very, very, very immersed with what I was like. It kept me awake. That's the sign of a great movie where like I'm tired, but the movie's like, fuck your tiredness. Like you're gonna pay attention and you're gonna love it. And I'm like, yeah, I did love it. Thank you, Luca, for feeding me this film. I've greatly appreciated. I would like.
Oh, you're so
I would
welcome.
like.
Wait.
No, I'm not talking about you. You didn't make the movie. Guadagnino did.
You're
Yeah,
not a part of the
I know.
team.
I'm joking.
What are you talking about? Yeah, you're not a part of the crew, okay? Yeah. And yeah, I was very happily fed, and I'll gladly ask for seconds. I will watch this movie again. I don't know if like. I haven't rewatched Call Me by Your Name in a very long time. I don't know if I like this movie as much as that, or maybe Call Me by Your Name will be the better movie. I don't know. Who knows? But yeah, for now, I guess I could say this is my favorite, and I'll give it 9 out of 10. Great ass movie.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, I feel bad. I'm giving this a 7 out of 10. Yeah. I'm giving this
Don't
a 7
feel
out of
bad,
10.
it's
I did like
okay.
it. I think it's very entertaining,
Don't
very
feel bad at all.
melodramatic,
Yeah,
but I think it has a lot of problems, like the characters, like fucking Zendaya. I think she's realized in her kind of emotions, but not in her kind of, I don't know, actuality. Like she's not. It's the subtext is like told to us, but it's not like oozing out of her, basically. But yeah, it is very entertaining. Mm-hmm. It's very melodramatic. I don't regret seeing it. I think I would watch it again. Maybe it'll actually improve, but yeah, 7 out of 10. More should have been more gay. Whatever.
it was pretty gay.
Yeah, people were.
I don't know
hyping up
why,
the
honestly,
gayness
because
a
that
lot.
is such a
And,
minor.
like,
That's a minor.
I
That's just such a
agree
minor
with
part of
Jules.
it. I don't know why
I
everyone's
agree
talking
with
about
Jules.
the bisexuality of the thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
that scene where they share the churros, like that's
Yeah,
pretty,
I didn't
that's pretty
like that
gay,
scene.
pretty hot.
Yeah,
But yeah, yeah.
I love that shot when they were like kissing and it like panned like over their heads and then you like to Zendaya. Yeah, that was cool.
I think
me
like
and
when I
that one
watched
Homer
that scene, there
too.
were like some like gasps, like yeah, there was some like gasps from my audience. They were like, and I was like, guys.
Oh yeah, how's your audience? How was your audience for the film?
They were. I feel like they were fairly
Yeah,
into
my
it.
my
Like,
audience was
they
fairly
were
into
just
it
as
as well.
entertained as I was.
There was two
you know,
annoying
like-
girls behind me though who were just like.
Yeah,
I was
audience loved
I was
it.
really tempted at one point to like tell them like, can you shut up, please? But thankfully they just kind of shut up on their own.
They were
It
there
was
for-
it was only like after the
Like,
it was
they were
only
there for
after like the
Zendaya.
kind of
South
threesome scene,
African-
but that was it.
South
They were
African
fine after that.
people are
Oh
big
man, yeah.
phone watchers, in films. Like nearly every single movie I go to. Actually, probably every single movie I go to has someone on their phone, and this one, I only.
There was a
noticed
guy
one
on
person their
Letterboxd
phone
in
for, like, a
like
very
midway through the
brief
film
period
in
of time.
my theater. I saw him in the row in front of me. Yeah.
Nothing is score.
Yeah. My brother, my brother was like surprisingly into because like he's the type of person where like if he's bored watching a movie, we go see movies like every time he comes home from college. Like he usually like goes checks something on his phone like every like 20 30-ish minutes or something if it's like boring or whatever, because that's what he did with like Dune. But with this one, like he was very rarely on his phone. He was like super into it, and I was like, hell yeah.
Do people
Like
just
now
always pull out their
now we're
phones?
cooking.
Yeah.
So but
Apparently,
I don't know. Like, I don't really do that.
Apparently,
Yeah, I don't know.
people.
Like,
Apparently, my friends saw more people. on
You're
it
probably just
than
too
I did,
focused on
but
the screen,
from
to
what
be
I
honest.
noticed, I only saw one person.
yeah.
Yeah, I was like laser.
I will
focused.
say though, like
But what did you ask?
oh
Jules?
yeah, sorry. What did you ask? Yeah.
If we go on our phones, like, or what?
What did? Were
I
you
mean,
saying
I was gonna
something?
say, like, I try to avoid. I try to avoid pulling out my phone, but like if something is so insanely boring that I just can't help myself. Like,
Timmy was saying
yeah, I
that.
just can't help myself if something is just so fucking boring. Like I'm trying to remember the
For
last
me, it
time I did
depends,
that.
like, how many people are in the cinema and stuff. Like, if it's a full cinema, I'm not. But, like, if I'm the only one there and I'm not into
I mean, I
it,
suppose if
then
I'm the only
I'll
one
take
there,
out
but
my
that's
phone.
that
Like,
rarely
just
that
for
like
free.
almost never
Oh.
happens. But otherwise, I just never do
Yeah,
it.
I was gonna say
But if
as
it's
well.
just,
Like,
I'm a freak
normally
about
what I
cinema
do-
etiquette.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't really do it.
Yeah, like if like
Yeah.
obviously if there are people near me, then obviously I'm not going to
I
do it
power my
because
phone
you know
off
that would be
entirely.
rude. But like if I'm like if I'm like one if I'm the only one there and like the other people are like super far away from me, like I'll just occasionally pull out my phone just to check the time to see like, oh my god, how much more of this is left, and I realize, god, there's an hour
I do
there's an
that.
hour left. So
POV me in Dune 2.
it'll probably be me when the new Kevin Costco Western comes out because that looks
looking
insanely
forward to
boring,
that,
and I'm just
honestly.
like, God, when will this end, please?
Then why go watch it?
People are looking forward to that one for some reason. I don't
I'm looking
understand
forward
why.
to it.
Like, it's like, did you guys see any of his other directorial efforts? They're so insanely boring.
Yeah, but
you
it's like
know?
this is like
So,
it's been
I
like
mean,
a
good
thing
for
that
you,
he's
I
been
guess,
working on for
Jules,
like
but-
20 years. It was like one of those like Hollywood like kind of urban legends, like almost jokes. Been like, imagine if fucking Kevin Costner's like 4-part Western epic comes out, and now it's actually happening. So it's kind of exciting.
I mean, he put the same amount of effort and passion into Waterworld, and, you know, that didn't turn out great, so, you know, like, I don't know what to tell
I mean,
you.
who knows?
I'm not saying this will be bad or anything. Like, who knows? It might be really great. Yeah, but yeah, I don't know.
I mean, he didn't direct Waterworld.
I've seen like Dances with Wolves, like maybe. I mean, he basically did because from what I understand, like the original director like left during post production, so he had to like direct some of the reshoots himself
Oh,
or whatever.
yeah.
I don't know. Who knows? I don't know the full story of that. So yeah, but yeah, I've seen like Dances with Wolves like maybe twice in my life, and I've
Twice.
fallen asleep like both times while watching it. It is insanely boring. So I saw it once for like I think maybe like school or something, and I was just
I've
like,
still
okay,
never seen Dances with Wolves.
cool,
But
cool beans.
I'll probably get
So,
onto it.
Do you want to briefly talk about Scargiver, the Rebel, the not
I mean,
Star
what
Wars,
is
the not
there to say,
Netflix?
really?
I don't have a lot to
I just
say
wa-
because there isn't really much.
I just wanted to say,
Oh, okay.
if
What's up, Doc?
don't worry, Jules, you can still be redeemed. Queer is still hopefully coming out
Yes,
someplace
yes,
soon.
that'll come out probably maybe at Venice or TIFF
Yes.
this year, and then we'll probably see it by the end of the year, or at least I will.
Yeah,
That
that'd
must be on
like,
crack or
if people are smart, if the studios or whoever the fuck is marketing it are
Well, they
smart,
won't be.
they
They won't
would
be.
release that film this year because, yeah, they probably won't be. But if they
I mean,
are
it's-
smart,
that-
they would
that's the
release
plan.
it this year because Challenges has been doing very well, which I'm really happy for.
Like challenges have been
Yeah,
done for like
Guadagnino
5 months,
is, like,
and it just
must
got
be a-
like delayed.
Yeah.
That's it.
It's been done for over a year. Because it was supposed to come out like last year.
No, it's come out in
September,
October, so
it's
it's
been
like
done for ages.
5 months, 6 months.
Did you guys see that meme where it was like all the female love interests in all the Spider-Man movies like went on to like star in like tennis movies or something? Did you guys ever see that meme?
Oh, yeah.
That was kind of funny.
That
I
is
never
a very
really
funny
thought. What was
concept.
Very
what was the
funny.
Kirsten Dunst tennis
Oh,
movie?
the-
I don't know what that one is. I know.
I think it's is it
I
I don't
Wimbledon
know
or something?
either.
Yeah, I know Emma Stone was in.
Was it Battle of the Sexes that Emma Stone was in?
No, I've never heard of a. No, Battles of the Sexes was Emma Stone, and then Zendaya was in this. I don't know what tennis movie Kirsten
I think
Dunst was in.
I think it's
Let
just
me
called
look it up.
Wimbledon. I might be wrong though. Wimbledon movie.
Oh yeah, it is called
Yeah, with
Wimbledon.
Paul Bettany
Yeah,
and
so
John Favreau.
apparently
Still
it's
a
not
tennis
very
movie
good.
though.
Man, all the Marvel people
Oh
here.
damn.
Yeah, it counts. So I think I tried watching Battle of the Sexes and I just couldn't force myself to watch
I
the
don't think
rest
I've
of it
I
ever
because it was
watched
just
it.
really
remember
boring.
I think it was my gran or my mom. One of them got a Christmas present for the other one, but it was like the Battle of the Sexes like board
What do you
game.
mean when you were like
And I was
young?
like
This movie came
really
out in
young. And I saw
2017.
that and I was like, no, no,
Oh,
the
okay.
board game, Battle of
Okay.
the Sexes. It's a very old board game. Yeah, yeah. So they got the board game for one another, and I was like, guys, what are you guys doing with each other? I was so shocked as a child. I was like, it says sex. I was like, what the hell? Yeah, I don't know. Little fun Luca story.
There was a
Anyways,
time in
yeah,
there was
we
there
can
was a
move
time in
on.
my life.
Speaking of little girls,
Oh, well, do you want to talk briefly about? We don't have to spend much time about this. We might as
yeah,
well. Yeah,
sorry.
like I'm gonna be honest. I watched the movie very drunk with Cole and Matthias. I like barely remember anything about it. The vibes was more fun than the actual movie itself. I remember three things from Scar Giver. It was the stupid opening, the weird slow mo of Jamon Hansu uh, picking up wheat, and then like the stupid final battle where fucking Sophia Boutella and the bad guy from Deadpool are like fighting each other while the ship is collapsing or something. I remember like those three things, and I don't remember anything else from the movie because it was so. This one was a little more funny bad than the first one. Like the first one was just so
Boring.
fucking boring. Like I barely remember anything that happened in that one. Yeah, this one was like more funny bad-ish kind of thing where like there is like a legitimately a 2-minute slow-mo shot of Jamon Hansu like shooting his gun at like the bad guys or
I was
whatever, and I
like,
was just like, is Zach just trolling at this
it was
point?
like
Is he
half of
just
it
like
was
doing
just
this on
like,
purpose now, like just to fuck with
yeah.
us? Like
Half of it was like kind of like just farming simulator
Yeah.
game adaptation of just like wheat. Like
Yeah.
I heard people saying that, and then I was like, oh man, people were not exaggerating. Like, fucking half of this movie is like, just like,
Yeah, if you like
yeah,
wheat,
just
this
the
movie's
harvest
for you.
movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then yeah, the Minecraft movie. Yeah, the other half was just like fucking, just like explosions, shooting, gun firing, like sword fighting, just action, just kind of ridiculously bloated. To be honest, it wasn't as like bloated as like shit like Man of Steel and Batman vs Superman. It was actually just surprisingly like, I mean, it's a sci-fi, so I can't say grounded, but like it kept itself like it didn't go as like over the top and just ridiculous as I expected, which I mean it's still not really.
I would say the last half hour it became way super like
Once
typical
once
Zack
the ship
Snyder
kind of starts
over-the-top
like crashing
bullshit
and
type thing.
shit, like it was, I didn't really understand why because they dug that little trench in the, oh yeah, spoilers for Rebel Moon 2 by the way, not that anyone cares, but they dug that little
Oh no!
they dug that little
I'm
trench, and then
yeah.
they were gonna pop out of it with their little rocket launcher and then like fire at the ships. Like, but the ships had landed, so I was like, why don't they just blow up the whole trench like they do a bit later, and then just get all the ships at once, and you get everyone. It seemed like a pretty stupid,
It's a Zack
pretty
Snyder
stupid plan.
movie. The moment you try to put logic into it, the moment you try to put logic in a Zack Snyder movie, just everything falls
Yeah.
apart. Like it's like trying to infuse logic into like something like Batman v Superman. It's like you're just gonna have a fucking headache if you try to do that, man. It's like just don't even
Yeah.
like. To me, like Zack Snyder has always felt like, in a way, kind of like Hideaki Anno in the sense that like
I don't know.
they don't really care if their movies are like logical, if that makes sense. They more care about like expressing certain emotions in their movies. But the difference between Anno and Snyder is that like Anno actually has something intelligent to say. He actually can communicate his feelings and his mental state in a way that like is thoughtful and tasteful and actually like means something and actually like you could interpret a lot out of and is like it is worth discussing like and watching multiple times over and over. But with fucking Zack Snyder's movies, he literally has like the mentality of like a 14-year-old edgelord, and just like anything that a 14-year-old edgelord would consider cool or deep is just in the movie, and then there's just no further explanation. It's just like, yo, isn't this sick when the fucking like king and queen got betrayed by like their own like
this fucking
council
like
or whatever?
shitty
like,
Reigns of
I don't know,
Castamere like red wedding ass thing. I was like, oh my god, the editing in that was just like embarrassing. Like the way the violins were cut and like mixed in.
Cole
It was just oh my lord. Like, who edited this?
Oh my god, they had an actual like music. They had an actual string quartet in that scene, and I was laughing so hard. I was just like, "You have got to be fucking with me right now, Zach!" Like, because like Cole pointed out, he was like, "This is legit." Like Cole, I think said something along the lines of, "This is legit like the Red Wedding Wish version or some shit." And I was just like, "That's a good point. I didn't really think about that." Yeah. So,
and I guess
like I said, it's more funny. This one is more funny bad. This was
that other
this
one
was
just
more what I wanted from
boring,
the first one, but the first one was just.
I don't know why he couldn't have just combined them. I mean, I think maybe he's planning to, but yeah, just.
Well, he purposely added so much fucking slow-mo so he could artificially bloat the runtime. Like, if the slow-mo wasn't in either of these movies, they'd be like an hour long. Like, just
he could have
mash them
if
together.
He didn't have the slow-mo, this would be one like tight, like maybe at most 3-hour movie. Like, probably not even. Like, it was ridiculous.
And keep in mind, there are more Rebel Moon movies coming. Like apparently, Snyder said like there were like 6 more or some shit in the works.
Like this has just been it's been embarrassing for Netflix. Like no one's liked these.
I hope not. Like this is just like the slot. Yeah, like who actually like not even Snyder fans like these movies. Like if they don't care, then like I'm
just gonna say that a lot of people talk about like the Snyder cult, but there's a lot of reactionary people out there. Like the true people that like Zack Snyder, like even they're saying like this is like undercooked. Like this is not like his other good
this is bullshit.
So-called good shit.
See, like, there are Snyder fans, and when I say some, I mean most of them, who, like, fucking defend, like, movies like Batman v Superman to their dying breath. Like, they, like, treat, like, Batman v Superman like it's some fucking deep, like, I think, like, I've heard some arguments say it's like, oh, it's, like, a critique on, like, post-9/11, like, a Pax Americana political system. I'm like, shut the fuck up. No, it isn't. It's just some edgelord like pitching 2 superheroes against each other. Yeah, but I'm a bit confused as to like why that movie is like defended by Snyder fans, but like, these movies aren't, because these movies are just as deep and thought provoking as like Batman v Superman. I guess this one doesn't have Batman and Superman punching each other, at the end.
I think it's just like, that these fucking characters are so boring. Like, no one cares about these guys. At least, like, you know Batman and you know Superman and you know Wonder Woman. Who the fuck cares about, like, what's Milius? Fucking John Milius ass, like, ripoff?
Yeah, Bella... Holy shit, hold on. There was a funny name. I wrote it down in my review because I was like, I don't want to forget about this. It was, I was like, some character had like the stupidest name ever, and I was like, I'm gonna name my kid this just so he can get beat up a lot. Hold on. Oh yeah, Belisarius. Like one character's name was like Belisarius, and I like burst out loud because it was like the stupidest
big
name
Emperor
I've ever
bad
heard.
Guy's like name. Like oh fuck! You better hope you don't become an enemy.
Was that the
that's the Emperor.
So I was confused because I thought
you better hope you don't become an enemy of Belisarius.
Belisarius, yeah. I was so confused because I thought like Carrie Ulyss's character was like this beloved like
I was a bit confused. Like he was like a massive expansionist king, but then his like little Jesus daughter was just like no, and then he was like I've changed. He's like Clockwork Orange. I've completely reformed. Well, and then I guess the other guy was just like no thanks. We're gonna kill you. So it's just like I don't really see why.
I don't get it. I don't see why we have to. What happened between the first and second movie?
Seems like it was just like one piece of shit killing another piece of shit. To be honest.
Yeah, yeah. Like he got like Julius Caesared, and I was just like, but why? Like, why did this happen? Like, what happened within the first and second movie for this to transpire? Like, I don't know. Who fucking gives a shit? It's just cool, you
But
know.
this
It's like
little Jesus daughter's
this
still
truly
alive.
is just like fucking. Oh yeah, the Jesus daughter, the girl who lives, the girl who will save everyone. What happened to her, by the way? Did she like run away? Did she like get
I
transported
think
to
that
another
the
planet? I
implication
forgot like
was
what
that
happened to
she
her.
had been like she's too Jesus like that, like in they were like, oh, you think she's gonna die by like just shooting her? Like I guess she transcends the physical, like basically.
That's another thing, honestly, that like really fucking pisses me off about like Snyder. It's that like when he's trying to convey that a character is this like godlike, all powerful being, instead of actually taking the time to develop their character and showcase their their strength through things that would make sense like visuals, all he does is just compare them to Jesus, and then he just
He
fucking
does
calls
love
it a
his
day. Like
Jesus
he did the
imagery.
same shit in Man of Steel,
Yeah.
where it's like instead of just actually properly developing Superman into a character, he's just like, remember Jesus?
Yeah.
Well, what if Superman was like that, but he could shoot lasers? Like, oh my god! Like, and he did this same shit in like Watchmen 2, where it's like, remember Doctor Manhattan? Well,
He's
he's kind
Jesus.
of like Blue Jesus. Like, yeah, it's just Jesus Christ. And that, again, that's not even the point, because I'm not going to get into Watchmen. I fucking hate that movie, but it's like, that's not the point of the character, Zach. Like,
Yeah, it is very.
so anyway, it doesn't matter. Honest. I don't know how you felt, but I felt like the action in this movie was somehow even worse than I
I
was
couldn't really
expecting.
see
Like,
anything.
as much as I give Zack Snyder shit for, yeah, I could barely see shit.
There was
Like,
there was a lot of
because as much
smoke.
as
There
I
was like
give Zack
scenes where
Snyder
they're
like
like,
shit for,
"What's that coming out of the smoke?" And I was like, "I don't know. I fucking can't see it."
yeah, like. As much as I give Zack Snyder shit for being an incompetent filmmaker who can't do anything correctly, like at the very least you're gonna get some decent action scenes from his movies. Like that's like the one selling point of his films. Like his action
Yeah.
scenes are like actually pretty great. Like that was like the one good moment in Batman v Superman, like the fucking Batman warehouse fight. That was pretty cool. But in this one, it's like you said, it's like I literally like I did that thing where I had to like clean my glasses just to make sure that my glasses weren't like obscured or whatever, because I literally couldn't see
It's funny
shit. Like
that,
I could barely like competently like register what was going on at like action
It's funny.
scene
Ever
wise,
since he started doing the cinematography himself, I feel like his films have gotten worse visually.
Yeah, no, exactly. Like I noticed that too, because ever since Army of the Dead, that was the first like movie where he like did the cinematography
Well,
himself.
it was also
like,
the
his
scenes
movies have
he
gotten
shot for
visually
like.
so much
It was also the
fucking
scenes he
worse.
shot for the Snyder Cut, which were all the ones that were like out of focus and stuff. So it's like, why do you do this?
Yeah, those were the ones that those were the worst moments in
Yeah,
the
exactly.
film.
I
I was
don't
just
know.
like
Who did he have
Zack
before?
Snyder is such a fucking hap.
I
Like,
swear he had
such
like
a fucking hack.
he had like a
I don't
decent
know, but he had
cinematographer,
actual.
like someone well known, I think.
Hold on. Let me look at
Oh
Batman
wait,
v
no, yeah,
Superman's,
it was Amir. It was Amir
cinematographer.
Mockery, who's worked for like Catherine Bigelow and like John Schlesinger and stuff. But he also does like all of Michael Bay's films.
Okay. Yeah, and I also noticed Larry Fong is registered as his cinematographer, because he also did the cinematography for 300,
Oh, yeah.
Watchmen, and Sucker Punch. So yeah.
Has he done anything else?
So yeah, like he had actual competent cinematographers working for him. I don't know.
Let's
I
see.
think wait, let me go back to that. He also did Kong Skull Island, I think.
Oh, he did.
Or one of the Kongs.
He did
I don't
Super
remember.
8, J.J. Abrams.
Yeah, which I saw for the first time, a couple weeks ago. I thought it was whatever. But yeah, anyway, what I was saying was, like, at the time, like, you could make the argument that Zack Snyder is a visually stylistic director or whatever.
Yeah,
but that was
he
when
knows
he had
he
actual
knows where to point
competent
a camera and
cinematographers
shit.
who
But
like knew what the fuck they were doing.
I guess I don't know.
But the
Maybe I
moment
gave him too
he
much
does
credit.
the cinematography, his movies just get. I didn't give him credit at all, but now it's like that's somehow the lowest of lows is even lower now, because it's like the one thing he was supposedly good at, he can't even fucking do
Yeah.
correctly. correctly. Like the way that like Army of the Dead, for example, was shot was fucking
It's just
awful.
it's
Like I
just the
hated
fucking
like
lenses he
the
uses.
way that like
he doesn't. He uses like wide.
yeah, it's
he
like
uses
makes
like
everything seem
things
this,
that
like,
are
this
used for
weird,
like
like-
close-ups in fucking wide angles. Like, why the fuck would you do that? You fucking idiot.
Yeah, and then he used
Yeah, he
like
uses wide-angle lenses
yeah,
in
and then he uses
close-up.
wide-angle shots for like fucking like close-ups. It's like he does the exact opposite
Yeah,
of what like a normal director, a normal cinematographer would do.
Oh my God, yeah.
And like he does the exact opposite, and it's why his movies are such fucking dog shit. It's like,
I mean,
and,
you could
yeah,
claim
like,
he's
in every
experimental,
scene
but
in
like
his
I don't
recent
think.
movies, like that's what like the pretentious douchebags are gonna like say and pretend and defend Snyder to their dying breath. It's like, you don't understand, it's experimental. It's not really experimental, and more just like a fucking idiot who doesn't know what he's doing. Like when I shoot something as on my iPhone and it looks like shit, it doesn't look that way because I was trying to make a statement about how like, oh, the way that photographs take pictures is like it obscures our vision. No, it's a bad picture because I'm an idiot who can't take a proper picture. Like that's all that is. And this is the exact same thing. Like his movies look awful. Like why is the background in action scenes like so fucking blurry? Like
the lack of
I just
focus
want
is
to
like
look
very
at pretty
weird.
visuals. Is that too much to ask?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, there's not really much to say. It's just pretty kind of shit and boring.
I would go into the story, but there's no
Yeah,
story
there's not really
there. Like
much
I
story,
barely
it's just
remember
like-
anything about like the actual
To be fair, it's
narrative.
I guess to give some sort of credit, it's very conceptually simple, and I guess he does technically stick to it. Like, I mean, it's just like shitty Seven Samurai, but like,
Yes.
and I've yet to see a film that can actually do the kind of thing that Seven Samurai was trying to do again. Like even like God, no, like a fucking almost 100 years.
This shit was somehow worse than like Sucker Punch, because Sucker Punch was like the last movie he like actually wrote, because he doesn't normally write his movies, but now for some reason he's.
I guess, yeah.
That's another fucked up
I think
thing
he's got
too.
it
Like
into
on
his
top
head
of
that he's
him
like a
doing the
writer-director.
cinematography, he's also like now he's like writing his own movies now, and it's just like
To be fair,
the most
did
cringe,
he-
like edgy 14.
Does he
like
co-write all of
some
them?
of my
Has there ever been like a film that he's written like all by himself?
Yeah,
Okay,
he co-writes all of them. Sucker Punch was the only movie he wrote all by himself, and you know
he
how
did-
that went.
yeah.
He
He wrote that
We
with
all know
another
how
guy,
that
I think.
went. So
Like, but
yeah, he did.
but
Sucker
I think
Punch,
that guy's only ever done Sucker
did
Punch.
he?
So
I wouldn't know. I don't. So he might as
Yeah.
well have just like wrote it himself
yeah,
somehow.
isn't there like
Yeah,
4
it's
writers
just-
on the Rebel?
Yes. What does? I think there was 3. I think 2 of them also wrote Army of the Dead with him or something.
I think one
so
of
it's,
them
like,
wrote one of the
basically
John
the
Wicks.
same,
I think.
same writing team. I think that sounds familiar. I think that might.
Oh
have been
wait, no.
it.
So
Yeah.
he's the only one.
Like,
Oh
I
wait,
don't
so
know
sorry.
what
I'm just
Snyder's
looking at
offering
I'm just
as-
looking at the credits. So there's a
sorry, go ahead,
screenplay by
yeah.
Zack Snyder and then 2 other people, but the only story credit is Zack Snyder. So I think he does come up with the stories all by himself, but he gets other people to co-write it with him.
Yeah, so like this is all from the genius mind of
Zack Snyder.
Zachary Snyder, and we're just all fucking. Yeah, it's just. Yeah, I don't know what Snyder is offering as an artist, really. Like, he's not. He clearly has shown he isn't good with visuals. If this is the level of quality his cinematography is, he isn't competent as a writer. He's like fine as a director, but it's like it's the same logic that I was this is why, like, for me, I will defend like Michael Bay to my dying breath, because even if I don't like most of Michael Bay's movies, I can at least see a very talented like filmmaker behind all these shitty
Yeah.
Transformers movies. And
He
like,
does. He gets
like,
overexcited
Pain
with the
and Gain and
drone, but
fucking
like it's also
Pearl
like
Harbor and all this
it's
other
like damn,
stuff.
this is admittedly like a very well constructed film. But this guy, like, I don't think. Yeah, he's not really.
Exactly,
He's
like
not
a
really
lot of his
bringing anything
give
to the table.
You can give Michael Bay shit all you want.
Yeah, I'll shit on
Sorry,
him all
okay.
day, but like at the end
Yeah,
of the day,
like, give
he's
Michael Bay shit all
more
you want,
talented
but,
than
like-
me. Like,
but, like-
maybe at this point in time, but like at directing a film.
Oh, obviously, yeah. And you got to give him credit. Like, when his action movies stand out, they have a very specific style.
Yeah, I mean, like
might-
it or
the
hate
style
it, you
might
can say
suck,
like
but
it's a
at least
Michael Bay
unique.
film. Like you can
Yeah.
identify it very easily. Like. And then I'm just
Yeah.
like, oh, the
And that's the
camera's out of
difference
focus.
between,
I guess
like,
it must be
Michael Bay
Zack Snyder.
Yeah, like Zack Snyder's style is just. I guess this is out of focus, but this was
Whatever.
intentional. I guess I don't know. Like the difference between Snyder, the difference between Snyder and Michael Bay is like Michael Bay doesn't hide what kind of movies he makes.
Yeah.
Like he knows he's making
Yeah,
movies for fucking
that's why I
like
think I like him
12-year-old boys. Like he knows his audience. Yeah, and that but with like Zack Snyder's, there's this sense of pretentiousness
I think
that's like
he has
running
this
around in
idea
his
that
head that just
he
like
makes like
actively
serious
like
movies.
ruins
I think
the
that's why
movies he makes.
I find Michael Bay
But
more
in
endearing, to be
actuality,
honest.
like his movie. Oh yeah, like I'll have like Bad Boys 2 is like the most psychotic movie ever, but I'll gladly watch that
Yeah.
over like any of Snyder's movies. So yeah. But yeah, I got my daily dose of Zack Snyder shit-a-thon, so
Yeah.
we can move on to
I mean, not really a
something
full
else.
discussion,
So,
but like it's just a
1 out
kind
of
of
10.
tangent.
This
Yeah,
movie's
yeah, 1 out of 10.
well, because there's nothing else to talk about. Like, what else is there to talk about with this movie? Nothing. I barely remember
Yeah.
anything. It went
It's
one
kind
year
of
out,
like a
other year in. Like, and I only
vomit
remember the funny
mess.
bad parts. Like, that's it. So yeah. So 1 out of
Yeah,
10. Piece of
two
shit.
out of 10, but think I'm being a bit generous.
Yeah, I was gonna say like, what about the movie? Like,
I mean,
what
it was
one
funny.
positive
That's
thing
what I'll
that you were
say. It
like,
was
okay,
it was
I
a
guess
bit it
this
was
isn't like
funny,
a
and I always include like a little
yeah.
stuff because for
Okay.
laughs. Because if I had somewhat of a good time and I wasn't sitting in like
That's fair.
boredom and misery, like, you know what, that deserves some credit, whether they're intentional or not.
I guess so. Yeah.
Is
so.
Luca around, or has she
All
gone
right.
to?
Is Luca back
Has
as
she
well?
gone to do some cooking or something?
I
I'll
don't
send
know.
her a message.
I guess she expected us to shit on Snyder
Yeah.
more
She
than
she
we
underestimated how fucking boring it is.
Yeah. As much as here's the thing though, like I do actually kind of want to recommend Watchmen at some point,
I would
just
actually be
purely
down to
because I'm
discuss
never
it.
going to get another opportunity to shit on
I find
that
that
film. So talk about
that
Watchmen,
film
yeah,
quite interesting, to be
The
honest.
the thing, I hate the movie, but not for the reasons you would. I have a very specific reason of why I hate that movie, which is why like I would actually like for us to talk about Watchmen at some point, even if I'm not going to have fun, because like you said, it'll be an interesting discussion. But the problem is now I got to figure out like. I guess we would have to watch the director's cut, but the director's cut is like a half hour longer than the theatrical cut, and it just
that would be
I-
interesting because I don't think I
Do it
don't
for-
remember which
yeah.
version I've seen, but I don't think it was I don't think it was the director's cut.
Yeah, I only saw whatever version was on HBO Max, and I think it was the director's cut or some. Well, no, I saw it before HBO Max was a thing, so I guess I saw it on Netflix, I guess, and Netflix was showing whatever version, and I guess maybe it was the theatrical cut, but yeah, I'll probably have to recommend the director's cut because apparently the ultimate cut is like just like not
I
even
love that he
Snyder
calls
is just like
that he doesn't call them
no,
director's
that's-
cuts.
that
He calls
was-
them the ultimate cut.
Yeah, like no, it's not the director's cut of Batman
the
v
ultimate
Superman.
cut.
It's the ultimate
Fucking
edition.
hell,
Like,
man.
okay, Zach, whatever, if you say so. Yeah, which I don't. The movie isn't even that better, you know. Like, because I remember like the first time I saw Batman v Superman, I was like, wow, this sucks. This is awful. And they were like, no, the 3 hour cut totally saves it. And so I was like,
Wait.
okay, fine, I'll watch the
No,
3 hour
Timmy,
cut. And I
Timmy,
saw it, and
Timmy.
I was like, this is the
Timmy.
exact same shit, but like
Luke
with
is
blood.
back.
You know? Sorry, yeah.
Luke,
What?
Luke is back. We were just
Okay,
talking while we were
sorry.
waiting for you to come back, and then Timmy got into
Sorry,
it again.
we didn't mean. Yeah,
Timmy's got too into the Snyder
Yeah.
zone.
Yeah, you sure
for
do talk a
someone
lot
that
about
hates
him.
Zack Snyder, you seem awfully into it.
yeah. I'm actually a secret Snyder lover.
You may as well be
You-
at this
you'll
point, the
never
way
hear it
you
from-
just constantly
from
talk
me
about him.
publicly.
It's like, oh, fucking hack Snyder. Like, ooh.
Because
But I
he is
know you
kind-
keep a
well-
picture of him next to your
Well,
bed.
here's the thing. He is a fascinating character in this. Yeah, he is the thing. He is a fascinating character in the same way like Michael Bay. Like, it's why I'm also equally obsessed with Michael Bay, you
He is a
know, as a
fascinating guy.
filmmaker. Even though I don't like most of his movies and they all suck, he's so fascinating. Like, I could talk about Michael Bay, like, for days if I could, you know, and Snyder's kind of the same thing, too. Like, I like interesting directors who are just like, man, you are shit at your job, but you are so fascinating that I could talk about you for days. It really is like that, you know. Like Michael Bay is another example. Trying to think of another. If I was into like Roland Emmerich movies, like maybe I would feel the same way, and I could talk about like Roland Emmerich in the same way. But I don't feel as strongly about Roland Emmerich as
Roland Emmerich's kind of
as
fallen
either of
off,
those
honestly.
two, but that being said, I do
Moonfall was
actually-
a fucking masterpiece.
Did you see
I
Moonfall?
loved Moonfall.
Yeah, I heard Moonfall was like.
Oh, you haven't
I
seen
heard
it?
Moonfall was a hilarious
Oh,
epic.
you'll love it. It's like a fucking.
I haven't
It's
seen
like a
it.
barnyard level film, Timmy.
Oh,
Yeah,
really? Thank you for saying that word specifically. Now that really got my interest.
yeah.
Yeah. Because here's the thing. On top of Godzilla and Shin Godzilla, I also plan on watching the Roland Emmerich Godzilla movie for the
Oh
first time
god,
too.
that's
I've never
terrible.
seen that one, but I've heard that it's I heard it's a
Yeah,
shit show. Anyway, Luca, I'm done talking. We can move on to Heavenly
yeah.
Creatures now. I'm
So
sorry.
anyway,
So,
um, speaking of uh, works of fantasy,
Jesus.
we saw a film called my recommendation called Heavenly Creatures, which is the 1994 film directed by Peter Jackson, most known for directing my favorite movie, The Lord of the Rings trilogy.
Hobbits.
And this was his kind of. This is his kind of
Yeah, the
Hobbit
Hobbit
trilogy.
trilogy.
his beginning of going from his like splatter phase of like movies like Bad Taste, Brain Dead, Meet the Feebles into like an actually very kind of mature kind of cinema that would eventually kind of come to peak in Lord of the Rings, and it's the debut of Melanie Linsky and Kate Winslet. It's a true story about these two girls from New Zealand in the 50s who kind of developed this very, very sort of strange, very disturbing, possibly lesbian relationship, obsession with each other.
I mean, it goes from possibly to
Yeah, well,
definitely
I'll
by
get
the
into
end
that,
of the
but
movie.
yeah, and it takes a very disturbing turn, and I think it's a really, really, really good film. But yeah, what did you guys think?
Luca, do you want to go first, or?
Yeah, I'm actually quite
You
curious
can
to
do
hear.
it.
Yeah, yeah, I know you love my opinions that much. I quite enjoyed it. I honestly enjoyed this more than I was expecting. Just purely because like this movie has always been on my watch list for a while, just purely because it's Peter Jackson, and I'll just watch anything the guy makes. But like the concept and premise of this movie has never been that interesting for me because I don't really care about like 1950s era period piece drama movies. Like that's not really like what I'm that keen on watching when it comes to my cinema. But somehow like Peter Jackson really made it work and really made it interesting. So from what I understand, so this is both Melanie Linsky's and
Yep,
Kate
they'd never
Winslet's like
acted
first
before.
ever movie, right? Is that correct? Yeah, and you never can't tell because they give
They
fantastic performances. Like their
it's some of the
performances are
best.
fucking
It's
phenomenal.
some of the best casting ever. I think like whoever the people were, I
Yeah,
forget.
and it's the fact
I
that it's
think
their first ever movie. It's
Yeah,
just,
they could not have picked better. It's just absolutely amazing.
Yeah, and well, apparently they had two different casting directors, one in
Yeah,
England
one in,
and one
New
in
Zealand,
New
yeah.
Zealand, and I was like, damn, yeah, you guys really just like went all out with the casting because they gave phenomenal performances,
And
and
everyone
it's no
else as
wonder
well.
why like Kate Winslet became like a huge star because
Yeah,
oh yeah, everyone does a good
it's a
job
shame
for
what
sure, but like
it's a shame
Kate
what happened
Winslet
to
and
Melanie
Melanie
Linsky. Honestly,
Linsky
like she never
specifically.
kind of got really what she deserved, which was like that huge stardom as like a very dramatic actress. Because to be honest, I think she does better than Kate Winslet
Yeah.
in this movie. Like they're both equally fantastic, but I think she trumps her.
I agree.
Um, it's also kind of funny. I don't know
I
if you
also
knew this,
like
Timmy, but
Melanie Linsky more than
both
Kate
actresses
Winslet.
have played the romantic partner of Leonardo DiCaprio at some point in their career.
What did
She was
what
Leonardo.
movie was
She was
in
in.
where
She was
got to
Leonardo
do that?
DiCaprio's wife in Don't Look Up.
Is that
Yeah,
true?
that's
Holy
her.
shit! I gotta look this up now. So,
She just kind of pops up in. She just kind of pops up in
Okay,
random
I'll look at-
places. She doesn't. I don't know if she really has any like leading.
okay, I'll look
leading
at this up
roles.
later. But yeah, the most I knew from her was she played the dictator in that one episode of The Last of Us, and then she was in like 2.5 Men or some
I
shit
forgot
like
she was
that.
in.
So it's
She
like
was in the
Oh,
last.
yeah.
Yeah, she's
so
really
it's
good in
like-
that.
yeah, like I always knew she was like a competent actress, but I wasn't that familiar
Yeah.
with like her work or whatever, and it really sucks because like I said, I honestly liked her a little more than Kate Winslet in the movie, and yet Kate Winslet is the one who got to be in Titanic and Avatar 2 and all this other stuff, so it's like, oh well. But yeah, anyway, what I was going to mention further is that like I could totally understand like New Line Cinema watching this movie and thinking to themselves, "Oh hell yeah, this is the guy who we're going to get for Lord of the Rings." Cuz like you could honestly see like elements of like the filmmaking like techniques and styles that
It's
Peter
just, like,
Jackson would later
he
go
always
on
had
to
it.
use in Lord of the Rings. Like there's a lot of it in this film. Like
I mean, it's also like a lot of the
like
same
tracking
team.
shots in the movie that are just like that's just the and like Fran
Yeah,
Walsh
Fran
also the
Walsh
same
as well,
co-writer as
yeah.
as
Richard Taylor.
but like I was gonna mention specifically like there were a lot of like really phenomenal like tracking shots in the
Oh my god,
film
amazing.
where I was just like that's just the Isengard sequence from Fellowship of the Ring, like it was just like I can't believe that like, and the directing is honestly what really made the movie interesting to me because like if the movie didn't have this like dynamic like filmmaking style, I honestly would have been pretty bored because like again this type of movie is not really my kind of thing. I don't really like this isn't really the first genre I look to for entertainment, but like I gotta give Peter Jackson credit. He really made it work. He really made this into his own, and the end result is a pretty good movie. I quite enjoyed it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
What did
I
you think,
really,
Luca?
really liked it as well. I don't know what to expect with it. I guess where do I start? I start with the opening.
It's
One
such
of the
a very
most, like,
ever.
one of the best openings to a
It's
film,
so good.
like ever, probably. Like, holy shit! Like,
Your reaction to
like-
that when we watched it
like
together
I
was
like
really
the
funny.
reverse of like, yeah, but Jules and I did watch this together. So I'm like the inverse. I'm like Jules like really like the challenge's ending was like there was like a bit like had a few iffy moments on with the rest. Like that was like me, but for this film, like not to say that I had like much iffy moments. It was more just like a personal connection thing. I think the middle of the film did kind of slug on for a bit, but ending and opening of this film, like, oh my god, some of the best stuff I have seen. Some pure proper Peter Jackson shit. Like yeah, like that opening was crazy. I was like, what the hell are we in for the rest of this film? And I was mostly
It just sets up like an absolutely
Yeah.
wild ride.
and I mostly enjoyed it a lot. I love Peter Jackson's weird commitment to like. I mean, I guess for this film it makes sense, but in stuff in like King Kong and like Brain Dead, like he just likes making period pieces. Like even when it's not really necessary,
Yeah.
like he just still really
just
likes
does it because
it.
because he's into it. Yeah, he likes
Yeah.
olden times.
And it's a weird thing because like
Well, he loves these old aeroplanes and
it's
shit.
just weird because the like idea of a period piece doesn't really, in my eyes, doesn't really gel with like the style that Peter Jackson has. But like it works in this movie. Like in something like Brain Dead, like you could take out the period piece-ness and nothing would
Yeah.
change. Like, but with this, like it really works and it really felt like the time frame and stuff, but like it still felt very Peter Jackson-y. It's weird, but like I think like yeah, definitely his greatest element is, which this film explores, is the fantasy.
You could also
stuff.
argue that like King Kong didn't really need to be a period piece. He
Yeah,
just did it
it's-
because he wanted to. Like he clearly likes what he likes, and that's what I can
That-
say
that's
about.
what- that's
Well-
what I'm
Yeah,
saying,
like Peter Jackson just like he can do
Yeah.
whatever he wants. If he likes it, go ahead. Who am I
Yeah.
to say
It's
no?
just- it's just funny
Because
because
he's a
like when I
master.
think of his style in Lord of the Rings, I'm like, oh yeah, this is perfect. But when I think of like that same like very like swoopy kind of camera moments, kind of a bit of cam, kind of a bit
Oh my
of,
god,
like,
there was that. There was that
like-
one scene where like Kate Winslet's like running around on like a hill and they have these like helicopter shots that like bask in like the New Zealand environment or whatever, and I
Yeah.
swear
Yeah, I know.
to God,
Those are the same. Those are literally some of them the
Like,
same
yeah.
places that they filmed the
I was gonna
Aragorn
say,
and
like,
Gimli
I was
and
like, I
Legolas like
swear to
chasing
God,
the
I was like,
Uruk-hai and Two
I
Towers.
thought like the Fellowship
Same
were gonna
location.
like come out like running at some point throughout the movie, like in those shots. I was like, are we in
Yeah.
Middle Earth? Like, what just happened? happened. So, and they might as well be, because like they have this like weird like
We're in New
fantasy
Zealand.
where like they escape to like this weird like Bridge of Terabithia,
What?
like Narnia like esque like fantasy world or whatever. That's a
Terabithia.
boomer
Oh my god.
reference. Yeah, that's a boomer
That's the
reference.
perfect
The boomers
comparison. Oh
out
my
there listening,
god.
that's for you. So, um,
Boomers
yeah,
love Bridge to
yeah,
Terabithia
and
with
what's her
Josh
face?
Hutcherson.
Yeah, so. Anyway, yeah, and I liked those sequences too. Like, first of all, like the prosthetics that like the clay people were like wearing and stuff like that. That was really cool. Again, that was
Yeah.
another moment
Yeah,
where it's
yeah. More often than not, those were actually like those. Yeah, those were more often prosthetics than like
well,
CG. I mean,
there
there
was that
obviously
one
are
part
bits
where
where they're
like
CG, which is for 1994 as well, when like Jurassic Park had just come out the previous year, and like which had just showed off like masterful visual effects and just like working as like almost like a little
yeah.
indie film basically in indie drama in I mean I should not really because it was like funded by New Zealand but like they didn't have like the huge like big budget of like Titanic or Jurassic Park or whatever. Like to make that with like in 1994 with like the little shitty computers is like that is a masterful innovation, even though like some
Yeah,
of it
it's
hasn't
funny. It's
aged
like
particularly well. But it's like for its time and for the resources they
yeah,
had,
it's
that's like
funny. It's
extremely
like
good.
some of the CG in this film are really, really dated, but I don't get mad when I see them compared to like other like early late 90s early 2000s like movies like
Yeah,
that scene where like the guy like cuts up the other like clay figure like with the sword or whatever and he gets like split in half or whatever.
Yeah.
yeah, like in
That kind of
half.
remind
That's like the only time. That's the only
Yeah,
time
but
where it
like it
looks like
honestly also
noticeably
kind of
bad.
reminded me of something like Terminator 2, because like Terminator 2 also had like similar kind of like CG shots as well. Yeah.
Yeah, you can make a lot
There's
of
also
Yeah.
comparisons.
like to me, like even if something is like bad CG now, I think there's still a charm to it when it's good CG at the time, you know, because like
Yeah,
because like
exactly.
when something is like bad CG at the time, then now it just looks absolutely horrendous. It just looks absolutely horrendous. But when it's good,
Yeah, like the Scorpion
Matrix
yeah,
King.
exactly.
Reloaded, yeah.
But when it's but when it's good CG at the time, like there's a charm that like it gives nowadays. Like even some of the CG in the Lord of the Rings, like it's still charming, you know. Like,
I would say some of it's
and I think that's honestly,
sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, go ahead.
I would, and I would say that's like a part of like Peter Jackson's traits is like charmingly dated stuff in some ways, you know. It
Yeah, he's always had like a rare
yeah, like a
handmade
very
quality to his
primal, like,
films.
yeah, like, but it's very, it adds to the charm, it adds to it a lot, and yeah, I think in this film, like, it works exceptionally well. The bit that, like, really struck me was, like, that shot inside the sandcastle.
That was
Like, I was
awesome.
like, oh my
That was
goodness.
another like
That was
Adams
crazy
that was another
good.
Adam Sandler
Yeah.
like I'm gonna come type moment. I was
Amazing,
just
yeah.
like, what the like,
I was like, whoa. And I was like, okay, so they just made a big sandcastle for this, right? And then it like pans up the stairs, and then like
Yeah, and then you see like, oh my god.
what's her face?
Kate Winslet?
Why can't I? Kate
Yeah.
Winslet, yeah.
Melanie
Yeah,
Linsky.
you see Kate Winslet's face, and I'm like, holy shit, like, yeah, crazy stuff. But that was incredible. I really
that was
loved
another
that
moment
sequence
where
of
I
the
was like,
film.
how did you pull that off? Like I want to see I need another like Lord of the Rings level like behind the scenes
Yeah.
like documentary of this movie the same way like
I
the
know.
Lord of the Rings.
I've been trying to find out how they did
I mean,
that shot.
that
for,
was the
like,
sequence
Yeah.
that I
so
was
long.
just like, that's just the Isengard sequence from like from Fellowship of the Ring, you know? Like, yeah, it's
Literally.
crazy how like this movie like you can like like Peter Jackson was just so confident in terms of his like directorial and like presentation style, because you can see a lot of like the things that makes his style so exciting to watch in his later movies, not just Lord of the Rings, just other stuff like King Kong and all that stuff. Like you can see a lot of his style like very early on in this movie.
Yeah, his use of like
the way he
angles.
uses, like, the his camera techniques, like, and even like his obsession with CG is like very like into like Peter Jackson's one of those directors. He's like kind of like James Cameron or Robert Zemeckis or something like that, who are very into like the technical side of filmmaking, that like they're really into like pushing the technology and making like the CG and like special effects as like cool and realistic as possible or whatever. And you can see that very early on in this film, where it's like this movie really technically didn't need CG. Like there's nothing on paper like that really required that it had to include like these like crazy special effects. Yeah, but it makes it
really
different.
helps
It makes
though.
it exciting.
I think
It's
like,
why
even the datedness of some of the CG is like, it helps it in a way that maybe it was even unintentional at the time, because like it's very much like it's basically his first veering into fantasy.
That's
like
true,
really,
yeah.
like the way, and it's like it's kind of campy the way these kind of like these kind of girls like very strange like world is, but it's also like it's kind of feels like that dated CGI allows it to feel like kind of like half like weirdly formed, like just kind of really strange, to emphasize this kind of strange nature of their friendship and everything that they do.
The best parts of the movie
um,
are like the fantasy kind of breaking from reality.
The fantasy sequences, the
those parts were the most interesting.
Exactly, yeah.
That shot where like it transitions from like the hill into the garden, with CG is like amazing. That's
the way
my
they
favorite
like
bit of CG from the film.
transitioned the. Oh, sorry.
And I think like the.
No, I was just gonna say,
no.
on the topic of transitions, I think the transitions of this film, like when people go from like regular people to like clay people, like that like creep that was super into like Melanie Linsky's character, the way he transformed into like a clay person or whatever, that was really cool. Like lots of great filmmaking and like transition shots. It's just like, damn, how'd you do that? Like, I'm serious. Like, I really do want to watch like a behind the scenes like documentary footage of this movie. I gotta watch. Like, I would like to learn everything about this movie, how they made it and stuff, because it's like I said, like on paper, there's nothing really about this that like speaks to me. There's nothing really about this movie that like interests me, but it's the way they present it is just really fascinating to me. Like the most boring parts of the movie are just like the normal scenes where like they're doing typical 1950s like period drama stuff. Like those are the most boring parts, because I'm just like, I want to go back to like the fantasy like Bridge to Terabithia.
You want to go back to the fantasy world like them.
Yeah, but I understand also that's like the point. I understand that's like the point as well, because like he purposely made like the normal places really boringly shot so he can make those like fantasy escapism sequences really exciting. It's like, it's really great contrast. So I can't even like fault the movie for being boring, because like that's like intentional. That's what the movie was purposely trying to go for, you know? So
South Africa name drop.
Yes.
Yeah.
Guys, that doesn't happen often. I would like to thank Peter Jackson for that.
Yep, a real one.
I think they also.
He made your best South African film.
Brain Dead, actually. Wow, you're actually so real that you're so right for that.
You're talking about District 9?
He did Morphe, so.
Okay, yeah. I was like, I don't know what you're talking about. Anyway, Jules, what were...
The more I think about it, and like the more... sorry, this is a bit off topic. But like the more... Like, my teachers at school, they're like, guys, District 9 is not a South African film. And the more I think about it, like, yeah, it's not really.
It takes place in South Africa.
Like,
yeah.
I know, but like...
And it was made by a South African
Hollywood
filmmaker.
Movie, like...
So would you say Chappie is more of a South African film than District 9?
Oh, yes. But this is a topic for another day.
Anyway.
Continue with Heavenly.
Yeah, Jules, continue.
Can I just get into like
saying?
my full kind of thoughts on the film?
Oh,
I mean,
go ahead.
I think because I read about this film, like, because at the time there was like one other project. I think it was like a little TV show that was being developed about this case. And I think the smartest thing about this film is that it doesn't focus on like I mean, obviously, like the climax of the film is like the murder with the brick, but it's not the sole focus. The sole focus is on their kind of friendship, basically, and how just like it doesn't. He's kind of more interested in telling us about like the girls themselves and their kind of like daydreams and kind of imaginations, I guess, and relationship, and just the way you kind of just naturally see how like they go from like just like close friends to just like this really like weird like just really disturbing obsessiveness, like where they couldn't possibly live without each other in like a really fucked up way, where it's like it's beginning to affect their lives, and they don't want to talk to their family anymore, and like and that's really affecting their kind of relationships with other people, where it's just like the only person I care about is like the other one, and it's like we would just prefer to not even like live here. Basically, we want to live in our own like daydream world. It's like it's basically like imagination going too far, really, like just kind of becoming your own little weird, almost cultish beliefs, kind of. And I really like the way it emphasizes like the flaws of like both of them, where you kind of sympathize with them, like the way that the mother treats them, and the kind of things that the Juliet goes through with like her mother is discovered in bed with like cheating on the father and stuff, like, and like the Pauline's mother is like she's one of the best characters in the film, because she's like there's times where she's like oh my god, like this, she's so annoying, like I see why Pauline doesn't like her, but then other times you're like, wow, she's just like a kind of like she's just a nice kind of old lady. Like, she might not have like the most progressive views for the time, but like such was the 1950s. Like, she just kind of wants what's best for her daughter. Like, she wants her daughter to have like the best life possible, the best education. Like, she just wants her to be okay, basically. She doesn't want to feel like something's wrong with her daughter or something is affecting her like in a bad way. And that kind of leads to that does lead to her being like just like very over controlling and very kind of just like almost unintentionally mean to her at times, but she's a mother. Like, all mothers kind of like make mistakes like that in being too caring for their child, but she's not overly protective. She's not like she's got like Munchausen by proxy or something.
I didn't know when you were going to stop talking. I was trying to find a way
to
chime in there. But in like a very rare case, like normally in these types of movies, it's like, oh, the parents are super restrictive, and like they're like halting the kids from being with each other and who they truly desire. But this is one of the rare cases where like them not seeing each other would have actually been for the better, because obviously Kate Winslet's character kind of gets roped into this like horrific
horrible
act,
idea.
Which, like, we haven't said it yet, but by the end of the film, like, they plot to kill
the mother, Pauline's mother with a brick.
Linsky's mom,
Pauline's mother, in a horrific and completely like just like unexpected scene, you know, like, but and like that ending, like, oh gosh, and as like twisted and fucked up as it is, like that cut to black where it's like, and they look through their diaries and they were arrested the next day, like,
like they just didn't even think,
so
like,
sick, but it's also so funny.
That was really unsatisfying.
It's like so it's
no,
I loved it. I thought it was like morbidly like hilarious.
Yeah, it's like, why would they not think to like just not write this down, like, dear diary, like, today we're gonna beat my mom to death with a brick. Like, I'm so looking forward to this. Like it's gonna be terrifically smashing.
They were really just such naive like
I guess
Yeah, they were
I didn't
just-
think about it.
little
They
I
were-
guess I
they
didn't
were
think
very
about it
bad.
like that. Yeah, that does
Yeah.
make sense because
They
when
really
I saw
didn't
that
like
ending, I
think
was
of
like,
the consequences of their actions. Like they were too
Yeah.
trapped in a fantasy to think that there would be real world consequences. Like, oh fuck, the police are gonna
Yeah, that's what I
investigate
really
this.
liked
Like
about-
they're not just gonna
Yeah.
think like, oh, it was an accident. Like it's like fucking Hot Fuzz or something. Like no, this
Yeah.
doesn't happen like that in real life.
yeah, I guess maybe I didn't think about it like because like once it like cuts to the end where it's like, oh, they got caught and arrested and blah blah blah, this other stuff, and I was like, oh well, that's kind of unsatisfying. Would have loved to have seen that, but then yeah, the more you guys talk about this, I was like, oh okay, I guess that makes sense. I didn't really think about it that way, but yeah, I love how like the characters, Melanie Linsky and Kate Winslet's characters, they have this shared delusion that I'm just like, wow, like like because I can imagine like initially, like if I saw this when I was like as a teenager, I'd have been like, oh hell yeah, I relate to this because yeah, my parents are always bringing me down, telling me what to do, blah blah blah. But then
Yeah.
like their shared fantasies and delusions just get more and more insane, and I'm just like, oh, okay, never mind, I'll take that back. I don't want to like because like I really love how like the Melanie Linsky's like, I hate my mother. She's the obstacle to me and what was her name? I fucking forgot. Kate Winslet's character.
Juliet.
Yeah,
It was
Juliet. Yeah, that was
Pauline
it.
and
Like
Juliet.
Pauline and Juliet. Yeah, there's like my mother's in the way. We have to kill her
Or
so that we
Yvonne,
can
or
like
whatever you want to call her.
yeah, so we can like finally
Yeah.
like break free. And I'm just like, okay, I don't think this is okay or healthy or whatever. Like, because even before then, Pauline has these like fantasies about like killing people or whatever. You know, she has the fantasy of killing, you know, the doctor who's like diagnosing her or whatever. You know, and it's just like
Oh,
I
yeah,
get
that's
that
such a-
like she. I get that she feels like oppressed or whatever, but it's one thing to like feel that way, and another thing to like wish her like clay models to kill people. I'm just like, ugh, I don't know about this. I don't. Yeah. So.
Yeah, it's just
but
like
yeah, I
you're getting into very disturbed territory.
yeah, and I love how like like the film really like has those distinct two halves where it's like when it starts out very just, you know, typical best friendy type behavior or whatever, but then it just becomes this weird like fucked up just like, oh god, like the bitches be crazy type attitude.
Yeah, it's almost like
you
a
know?
it's,
So,
it's like almost like a freeing film. Like she's just like, oh, I'm free from like my kind of like mundane everyday life where like no one understands me, kind of. And then she's like, oh, I've finally got like a friend. Like my life is kind of grounded now from all this traveling around the Bahamas and Britain and whatnot. And so it's like it's a very happy film at first, and then. But then
Yeah.
it's just like the kind of cracks start to seep in, and you're just like, oh my god, this is like this
I mean, and also
one bit of this outside pressure, and they just completely like fold in on themselves and go fucking mad.
yeah, and to be fair, to give it some credit, like I love certain scenes where it's like when Kate Winslet's character gets like infected with TB, like her parents is like, well, we could cancel our trip to
Yeah, we
our
could.
conference trip,
It's like,
but
oh my
we're not
God.
going to. And I'm like, are you serious right now? Like, so
Yeah.
and they basically
It's-
treat her that
yeah.
way like for pretty consistently. So like it makes sense why like Kate Winslet would kind of act this way. Not that like justifies her actions, but you can see like just like her parents' this like
It's
shitty
like she-
attitude just like seeping into like her like mental
They're talking
and like
about
I guess
like
physical
yeah,
well-being.
Pauline's like, oh my god, they're artistically free and like stuff. But this is like really, it's just that they don't really care. Like they're not artistically
Yeah.
free. It's just like, oh, they're just kind of unreliable kind of people. And it's also, I think it's the kind of the happy bits of the relationship is just like they're really essential because like they did research. Peter Jackson and Fran Walsh, like they did research for this film by like looking at like contemporary reports of the time where it's just like they portrayed them as like really like just like fucked up like just people who were just like they're really manic, like they're just really disturbed. It's like, and then when they went through her diary, they were like, no, they were happy together for a while. They were just really good friends, like just like any other people. It's just like they just kind of went a bit too far. Like there was something in them that just kind of like
Yeah.
like
I
the
think that
worst
was
possible like that if they hadn't met, their lives would be much better because they were both kind of like there was something inside them that was a bit like just there was like
Yeah.
each other.
yeah, like there was a
They
few
were feeding
screws
into
loose
each
in there,
other's-
kind of.
They were feeding.
Yeah,
into
they were feeding into each other's delusions
fantasy.
a lot.
Yeah. hmm
Yeah,
And that's what I love about the
I like the
movie
bit
is
where they
that
run
like,
away from Orson Welles.
yeah, I wasn't.
Yeah, that was so
I wasn't the
funny.
biggest fan of that, but yeah, it was cute, I guess. I was just gonna
Real
say like,
situations.
It was funny when they were like, that is the most disgusting man on the planet.
Orson Welles,
Like,
the most
God.
vile man in Hollywood.
Yeah.
and I was like, I
Yeah,
don't know, like
that
Orson
was
Welles
so
isn't like
funny.
ugly, you know. I was like, I don't know what their problems were, but you
He
know,
kind of is.
But
Being real.
I mean, if we're talking like '80s, like Orson Welles when he's doing the fucking like wine commercial and like
Yeah, when he
starring
was,
in
like, fat.
Transformers the movie, yeah, then yeah, sure, I guess you can make that argument, but like,
Go
the
go
third
look at
man,
pictures
like
of him
Citizen
in like the
Kane.
50s and the 60s when he was like in between those two phases. He looks disgusting.
Okay. All right, I'll do that. I'll take a look at it later. Yeah, but I was just gonna mention. I'm glad you brought up like the research that Peter Jackson and Fran Walsh did because I think that's the best thing I like about the movie. Where it, even though this is, I guess, technically like a true crime movie, kind of whatever, you know, like it doesn't feel exploitative. Like it doesn't feel like Jackson and Walsh, Fran Walsh, Jesus, are like feeding into like the sensationalized version of the story. You know, like the journalists that they weren't just like trying to
Yeah.
make all
It's
like
very
a huge
human.
like a huge hoopla, like oh look at this bitches be crazy story where the girls go crazy or whatever. You
Yeah.
know, like it very much is like a
It's not like
first
why
and
are they
foremost.
crazy? Yeah, it's like
Yeah, it's like
yeah,
first
it's like
and
this is like
foremost a
how
story
they
about
turned out.
friendship.
This is what caused this basically.
Yeah,
this
it's
is
like
a
a
story
story
about
first and
friendship
foremost.
and just like
yeah, that just
getting
went
too close.
way too far. Yeah, I'm like yeah. So like, but it doesn't come out of nowhere too. It's not. It doesn't. It's not like halfway through the film, one of them's just like I'm crazy now. You know,
Yeah,
like
it's not like
a
they
gradual
suddenly have like
process.
the thought of like yeah. I mean, she's always a bit kind of disturbed, like the Melanie Linsky one, but it's not like
Yeah.
it's not like the thought of like, oh, let's murder out of nowhere. It's not like they were just like they came together as like, oh, let's kill people. It's like no, they came together to like write stories and like just be friends. And I think that's why I guess for all I said this to Luca while we were watching, but like for how bloody like Peter Jackson's like early films are, like he's shown a lot of fucked up shit in his early films, especially like. But I think that fucking like brick murder scene is the most disturbing thing that he's ever filmed. To be honest, like it's the most
Yeah.
disturbing thing I've ever seen in one of his films. And it's like I love that he just like the sort of normalcy of the day, like the tragedy of it is emphasized by the fact that like it was one of the days where it's just like she got on well with her mother, like her mother was just like she was happy to be going on a walk with her daughter, and then she was just like everything seemed normal, like there was no, you can even see the hesitation, like why are we, in a Kate Winslet for like one moment she's like, why are we doing this, like for like 1 second, but then she's like, oh, I guess I gotta do it for my friend, and then it's just like, oh my god, it's horrible. Like the way he beats her, and then apparently in real life they thought it would take like one swing to kill her to the head, but obviously it doesn't really work like that, so it took like 20 to kill her, which is like, oh my god, that's horrible, like just terrible.
Yeah, they were
So
stupid,
that
but
scene,
like
that
they
scene
were
is like
also
that scene is just really really fucking disturbing.
yeah, they were stupid, but they were also just like they were kids, you know, like they didn't know any better. Like of course they're naive and they make idiotic decisions because what the fuck do they know, you know? Like I love how like
Yeah.
the movie treats them as what they are, you know. And in terms of like the actual murder scene, it's funny like because I had seen Brain Dead Dead Alive before, and like but like I don't really bat an eye in the violence in that one because it's like, oh, this is just like, I mean, it's a
Yeah, 'cause
comedy,
it's fun.
it's like a
It's
stupid
cheesy.
like yeah, it's
Yeah, it's
like an Evil
ridiculous.
Dead 2 style like gory splash fest, you know. Like I
Yeah.
don't think twice about it, but like when he applies that same amount of intensity and gore to something like this, which is much more grounded and like realistic, I just go, oh god, this is like terrifying, you know. Like I don't want to do I
Yeah,
don't
it's
want
just
to be
like,
in the
oh
same room
god,
as
this
them,
is
you
like
know.
this is like really hard to watch. Like, oh my god.
Yeah. So yeah, and I guess like he kind of applied the same logic in like Lord of the Rings, for example. Like the scenes where like the most terrifying scenes are like when he just is kind of up to his old like Brain Dead Dead Alive like type shit, but now he's like applying them to a new context that's much more grounded and serious, and it's just like, oh, this isn't fun anymore. It's just really sad and really scary.
Well,
you know?
those ones are more exciting, like because like they're fantasy adventures and stuff, and like it's like
I guess
it's
so.
it's epic
Yeah.
and stuff. But it's like, but this one is just like there's nothing. Like apparently they filmed it at the actual like that's where it happened, like in real life, like on those steps.
Okay.
Like that's the actual murder site, like pretty much to the
Oh yes.
to the
yes.
exact.
Jules, do you want to go into I don't know if you mentioned, but the fact that like the story of like where the lady is now and stuff.
Oh
where the lady
yeah,
is
I
now.
was gonna go into that. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah.
I don't
By
know
the way,
this, so yeah, please
Peter
go
Jackson.
ahead. Yeah.
Peter Jackson didn't really. Peter Jackson in that scene with the beating, with the brick. He really didn't. He wanted to film like a few paces away because he was superstitious that it would be a bad omen to film in the exact same place that it happened. But I guess he was like, "Oh fuck, gotta do it for the movie." Yeah, but anyway, I sent Luca this. I'll put it in the chat actually here.
Yeah, I would like to
this
learn more about
Guardian
this as well.
article because at pretty much the exact same time that the film came out, the kind of I guess the press uncovered the real identity of the woman who is the Kate Winslet character. She actually passed away like only last year. This article's from like 2006, I think. And yeah, she changed her name. She went back to Britain. She became like a crime novelist basically. And yeah,
Irony is truly a
she kind of
wonderful
lived
thing.
she kind of yeah. Apparently, a lot of her books deal in like themes of like guilt and like redemption and shit, and like just agonizing over the past. And like,
Interesting.
I mean, it is kind of interesting because I think it's obvious that she was the less fucked up one. Like it was because it was Pauline who was like who came to her with this idea
Yeah.
of like, and she was the one who, as far as we know, had all like the murder fantasies.
And also like as much as she also like had like her own family drama and like shit going on in her family, like not once for a second do we ever see from her character that she like wanted to kill them or like express like physical harm to them. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Whatever
like,
happened to
yeah. And but
the other whatever
yeah,
happened
but
to
that's
the
the
other
thing I was
one,
getting
Melanie
to because she was the
Okay.
more like vicious one, I guess. I think she was. It's interesting because we've never really heard from her again. Like I don't know if she's still alive, like what she's what she's doing now, like if she's probably living under an alias, but like yeah. So I guess she was the one. She got found out, Juliet. And it's interesting in this article. She kind of if anyone wants to read this, just look up Anne Perry Guardian article from like 2003. It's interesting, and she says like we were in this article like we were never lesbians, like our relationship was never at that point, which to be honest I don't want to down her because obviously she experienced this and I didn't, but I feel like it was kind of at that point, to be honest. Like there was not they had progressed pretty far. I would be surprised if it didn't get to that point, to be honest. Like everyone kind of thought that they were, and it seems like maybe
At least not from her perspective.
yeah, at least not from her
Definitely
perspective. She doesn't feel like it was that, but I feel like from an outsider's perspective, it
But,
definitely was
yeah.
that.
Yeah. And even from Pauline's perspective, you know, I guess you'll never know because
Yeah, I don't know. She's disappeared off
yeah,
the face
she's
of the earth.
gone. But like, the movie kind of delves into like her psyche and stuff, and obviously it's all you know, made for the film. But yeah, like I think it's definitely an interesting topic to be explored.
Mm. Yeah, it is just kind of like weird because you don't really see these kind of like. Normally, when you think of something like this, like you'd think it's just like one person, but the fact it's like two people who are just kind of who are just kind of cued to each other like so well that they're both kind of experiencing this and just kind of living in this delusion basically together is quite unique and extraordinary. Like that they were like this.
Yeah.
It's kind of like it's kind of like how twins share the same mind, you know? It's like when you look at like a movie that's directed like by twins or like siblings, it's like how were they able to like share those brain waves like so
They just share the same brain cell.
distinctly with each other? Yeah, exactly. It's like they like had the same brain waves, you know? Like they shared like this reality with one another. Yeah.
Oh wait, no, there is information about what happened to Pauline.
Oh, okay. Please do share.
She apparently I just looked this up and I found some like obscure shit. She lives under the name of Hillary Nathan, and she was tracked down like a few years later. But apparently she is she moved to England. She eventually ran a riding school, and then she got kind of outed, and she moved to Scotland. And apparently she's a very devoted Catholic now. She's never spoken to media or anything. No one really knows what she's up to. Basically, she kind of lives in obscurity. I'm not seeing anything here that says she's still alive. This article's kind of like from 2013, so
Or she could be dead for all we know.
it would appear. Yeah, I think she must be like. Hang on.
Weird. Crazy.
Yeah, she was.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if she's still alive or not. She could well be. But Juliet is no longer alive. She passed away last year.
Gotcha.
So interesting lore.
Very, very interesting. I wonder if any of them have seen the movie.
Apparently, because it was kind of around the time of the movie that Juliet kind of got found out. So I think she says, you can read in the Guardian article, she talks about the film. Like she's just like,
okay.
she says she wasn't really like a fan of, I don't think she ever saw it, or from just, I don't know if she says she saw it, but she says she wasn't a fan of the idea because she was just like, oh, all this shit's just coming back into my life again.
Yeah. Which makes
For
sense.
what it's worth, she seems to be very remorseful about it. Apparently, like she became like religious as well. So I guess kind of religion helps with this shit.
I guess.
Yeah.
Guess it all works out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've said everything I
It is
wanted to say about this film.
I was just looking at
unless
a
there's any-
a mugshot of them. Pauline has like a really like scary looking like angry face. She almost looks like what's his name in Full Metal Jacket, when he does like the kind of 1,000-yard stare face.
Oh, the
Pyle.
Vincent D'Onofrio's
Private Pyle.
Private Pile.
Kind of looks like she's got like just a really really angry looking face. I was like, I almost thought that was like exaggerated, like kind of a campy thing, but no, she really does look like that. She looks fucking scary as shit. Oh my god!
Who is this one? Pauline or Juliet?
Pauline.
Yeah, please.
Yeah.
Well, to be fair, she did that a lot.
Terrifying.
She did that a lot in the movie, where she did like weird scowls, like during like the picture or whatever, you know. So she did that like all the time. So just assuming that was
apparently
like,
that photo that they take where she's just kind of like looking down, like just like really unhappily, is apparently that was a real photo. I think this is it. Yeah, she doesn't look very very happy.
Bitch face.
Yeah. Oh yeah, here's that school photo. That's the real one apparently. That's not the one from the film. I was shocked to find out that was a real thing that happened. Yeah. Anyway, we should probably get back to like talking about the film rather than the lore of these people.
I mean, it is interesting.
It's interesting. You know, it's a film about certain things. You know, so.
Yeah, it's just.
I mean, I've kind of said everything I
what
wanted
did you
to
guys
say
think
about
about
the
like
film.
the?
So if they're...
Did you guys like the dad character of Pauline, the kind of goofy dad?
I liked him. He was,
Yeah, I
yeah,
loved
he was,
him.
he was cute.
He was a cool guy. That's why. That's
Yeah.
how that moment where he's just like, you bring shame upon your family. It's like, oh fuck, no, you were so cool, man. Like, why do you?
Oh yeah,
Yeah, that was
moment-
just That was, like,
where-
devastating.
Where he like I did think that bit was a bit goofy when like he came in and like the guy like was in her bed and stuff and like he assumed that they were having sex. I think that was a bit goofy. Like there were a few bits in the middle that like lost my
Yeah,
attention
that's
a
that's
bit,
where it kind
but,
of
like,
loses me a little bit, but
the
it's like
first-
very minor.
Yeah, I would say like the
Yeah.
second.
But the first like maybe like half an hour like is
The first
or
45
maybe
minutes
40
is just
minutes,
great.
like, really
Yeah,
solid.
it was
And then it
really,
comes back
it
to that,
really
like, the
held
last
my.
half.
Great.
I would say, yeah, the first like 30 to 40
Yeah.
minutes of this movie really held my attention. I was just like, oh, this is really interesting. This is more interesting than I thought. And then, yeah, the second act where it kind of just goes into like
Yeah, it kind of
weird
like
shit, and I'm
drags
just
a little
like,
bit, like it loses me a bit.
yeah.
Yeah,
I think
when
that was,
she
like,
goes
the
to
biggest
the
issue.
But then when it kind of all
hospital,
starts going wrong, it's like, oh, we're back.
Yeah, like I think that
Yeah,
second act,
yeah.
like that was my biggest issue with the film was that the pacing in the second act was just really dragging, and they were just doing some weird shit, and I was just like,
Yeah.
oh, I guess we're doing this now. Like the Jesus, I didn't have like that. I kind of understood like the relevance of like the hospital scenes. I mean, I wish they sped that shit up more, you know, because I wasn't that into it. But then like the whole like subplot with like the creep who was like into Melanie Linsky, like let's fuck, I love you or whatever, and I was just like, what is this?
Yeah.
Like, what does this have to do with
Yeah.
anything?
That could
you know,
have
so-
been done a bit better, but obviously it is important for like her kind of like sexual awakening, and obviously like I think it obviously affects her in some ways. Like it's quite fucked up.
Jules
guess,
was there
but it was
when
just-
Jules saw my reaction to that. Like, that guy had such a like punchable face. Like, I didn't even want to look at him.
Yeah, he just
like when he was like drooling in that sex scene, I was like,
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
it's just
he
like,
was
oh,
disgusting.
gross.
It was gross. It was like
absolutely fucking.
I wish
vile,
that character was in Brain Dead, Dead Alive, just so I could see him like viciously like.
He's in a lot of Peter
brutalized,
Jackson's movies.
Yeah, he's
He plays like an
was he?
orc in
yeah.
Lord of the Rings. He plays like a Nazgul and stuff as well. He's like
Wait,
he's just
which
one of his
orc?
guys.
Wait, which orc? Which
I don't remember which
Nazgul?
orc. It's like just a random orc. It's not like
Okay,
I don't know
well.
his name. He plays one of the Nazgul in Lord of the Rings though.
Okay,
He's
see.
also
That's
one of the
cool.
dwarves in the Hobbit. Like one of the non-name ones. It's like not really important.
Oh, so not one of the 13 dwarves. Gotcha.
Well, one of the 13 dwarves, but not one of the ones you care about. Like one of the
Oh.
Like
Nori,
the
Ori.
random
Okay.
Yeah, the rando ones, like the Nori, Ori.
Well, I was gonna say,
Bori,
yeah. Well, now
fucking whatever.
well, which one? Like now, I gotta figure this out. Hold on. Yeah, which of the 13 dwarves? Because I know them. So,
I think it's Nori.
Thorin Oakenshield, Philly Killy, Ori, Nori, Dory. Fuck.
I think it's Nori.
I used to know all the names very, very well because I was a huge Tolkien head when I was younger. So Jesus, I gotta look this up.
What?
I've never actually seen the original Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs.
Really?
It was a movie that I just assumed that like I'll probably watch at some point in film class, but then that just never happened. So I was just like, oh, okay, I guess this
that's
never
really
I
good.
can name all the
Yeah,
Snow White
so-
people. Okay.
and do it.
Happy, sleepy, dopey, sneezy, grumpy. No, that's all I can do. That's it. Okay, I can't
Yeah,
name them
see?
all. But it's like emotions. It's like emotions that dwarves have as like just their names.
You went full
Yeah.
Hideaki Anno.
Another moment I
that,
liked
yeah.
in the film is like the bit where it's like the extreme close up on like the doctor's lips, and he just says like homosexuality, like he really
Yeah.
enunciates.
Oh,
I was like, that was
That's such a
weird.
great
I was
moment.
like,
That was so
yeah, I was like,
good.
let's reel it back a little bit, Peter. Like, that was funny though. I did laugh at that moment.
That
It
was,
was,
No, I
that was
laughed at
so
that moment.
funny.
That was perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, that moment was like clearly intended to be like goofy. Like, goddamn, Peter Jackson is
Oh,
an
I didn't
ally.
think it was like serious or anything. I was just like jokingly, just like,
Yeah.
that's way too close to his lips, Peter. Like, let's roll
Yeah.
back a little bit here. Yeah.
Sexuality. It's also the New Zealand
Yeah.
accent, just like the New Zealand British accent, just makes it so
Oh,
funny.
God.
Yeah.
humanity.
Yeah, and I love how like
Very funny.
he's like, oh, it's just a phase, and if not, hopefully in a few
Yeah.
years, modern medicine
Modern
will
medicine.
cure. I was just like,
Which is like, I
Um,
think that is just such a testament to like how stupid like
Yeah.
fucking, like homophobia is. Like,
Yeah.
because of course like medicine is not going to be able to
Yeah, exactly.
something like that. Not you. You know what I don't mean it in that way, but like, you know, of course medicine isn't going to stop someone being fucking gay. Like, and that was definitely like a big poking
Yeah.
fun at that kind of vibe.
Yeah, it's
There's a
just
lot of-
campy.
there's a
Like,
lot
these
of
people are
stuff
just
in,
so, like, ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like, they're just
they
as
were- it was
ridiculous as,
clear
like, the
that,
girls are
stuff
absurd
in-
in their imaginations.
Yeah, even though this is a more serious film, you can tell moments like that were just like, oh, this is just PJ going back to his old like goofy horror comedies,
Yeah.
you know, like
But it's also,
obviously
like,
it's not,
it is just, like, as much as it is, like, a really disturbing story, it's also kind of, like, a weirdly, like, morbidly, like, funny story as well. Like, oh my god,
Yeah.
like, some
Yeah. There's a
of
good
the some of the
sense of
things that these
humor.
girls, like,
It's like May December.
the funniest, some of the funniest things are, like, true, you know. I fucked up the saying there, but, like, you know what I mean.
no,
It's like some of the
I
things
get
that
what
they
you
do,
mean.
it's just like, what the fuck? Like this is just like, I shouldn't laugh at this, but like, what the fuck?
Yeah, there were some moments
And
where
yeah,
that
it is-
were
it
like
is, like, May
intentionally yeah, there were some moments that were like very intentionally hilarious, and I appreciate that like the movie could like
Yeah.
knew when to have a
It
sense
doesn't
of
it
humor
doesn't
when
try
it
to
needed
take itself too seriously, but it knows also when to be like, it knows when to like be serious as well.
Yeah. hmm
Like, I think it strikes the perfect balance between the two.
hmm So how does this rank for you, Jules? Because I know you're a big PJ head. How does this film rank compared to his other movies? Like, obviously, Lord of the Rings is on the top.
I would
but, like,
say, yeah. Fellowship of the Ring. If I had to do like a top 5, I'd say like Fellowship of the Ring, Return of the King, Two Towers, They Shall Not Grow Old, which is his World War One documentary,
No,
and then
I know, yeah.
Heavenly Creatures.
Okay.
And then I'd probably
So you
say
liked
like
this-
Brain Dead.
I was gonna say, so you liked this more than Brain
Hang
Dead?
on, let me pull up
'Cause-
my PJ ranking.
Yeah, because I think I liked Brain Dead more than this. I haven't seen Brain Dead in a very long time, but I remember liking that one more than this one. But to be fair, Brain Dead is
Yeah.
also more
I like
what
Brain
I'm
Dead
in.
more than
Yeah,
this one.
Brain Dead is more what I'm
Yeah, of course you
interested
do.
in. Yeah, so yeah, because you are Brain
Yeah,
Dead.
let me just read out the
Yeah.
Peter Jackson ranking. Okay, Fellowship of the Ring,
Yeah.
Return of the King, Two Towers, They Shall Not Grow Old, Heavenly Creatures, Forgotten Silver, Brain Dead, King Kong, Bad Taste, The Beatles Get Back, Meet the Feebles, The Frighteners, The Lovely Bones, Hobbit, the Desolation of Smaug, Hobbit, Unexpected Journey, and Hobbit, The Battle of the Five Armies.
You like Desolation of Smaug more than Unexpected. You got those reversed. The Unexpected Journey is the better one of the two not awful.
I ain't
Hobbit
dog
movies.
shit cat shit.
I think I agree with Jules there.
I think
do like
I think that fucking Unexpected Journey's boring as hell. At least there's
Really?
more. I think there's more going on in what is it? Desolation of Smaug.
I disagree.
Like, it has-
I think
it has
there is
somewhat-
so
it-
much.
It's
There is
mixed
so
in
much
its
boring-
pacing, but it has like a somewhat of a good flow, and there's like enough
There is
set
so
pieces
much
where I'm
boring-
like, okay, this is whatever.
There is so much boring bullshit in Desolation of Smaug. For a movie with the word Smaug in the title, they don't show up to Smaug's place until like an hour and a half into the movie. It's like, what are we doing here? Like, come on!
Well,
like, at least
actually,
with
for
like
a movie
Unexpected
called,
Journey.
The Two Towers, I only saw
Oh.
one tower in it. So.
Gee.
No,
Jesus Christ.
no. For a movie called Return of the King, he returns pretty late in the film. Is more a better comparison.
Yeah.
The Gollum
The
scene
Fellowship
in
forms pretty late in the film.
the Gollum scene in the first Hobbit movie is like literally the better than anything in Desolation of Smaug. It's like easily the
Hobbit
best thing in the movie.
Unexpected Journey. The journey wasn't actually that unexpected.
Yeah.
I think I kind of expected it from the beginning. I'm not gonna lie.
The Beatles get back? Well, no, they don't actually get back because two of them are
They're
dead.
dead.
You sounded like David Lynch in that one.
Okay, my ranking.
Oh, you know,
My
David Lynch actually has a
ranking
link to this
is
film, by the way.
Really?
Yeah, because he was this competed at like the Venice Film Festival, and Peter Jackson won Best Director for it, and David Lynch was president of the jury that year, and he quite liked the film a lot. He was quite taken with it in his way, as you expect he would be.
I wouldn't be surprised.
You can imagine the scene. You can imagine the scenes that he would like the most. Yeah. Anyway, what was your PJ ranking,
all
Luca?
of them like you, but I really like Heavenly Creatures, but I think I do like The Lord of the Rings is more, and Brain Dead and King Kong I like a bit more.
I liked this more than.
But yeah. Great
I
film.
liked this more than King Kong. I'll just say that. Half of King Kong is just the most boring shit ever. I'm just like, Jesus, like, I really hope the movie is over soon. So, because it's just 3 hours for no reason.
No.
So, we can get into this if you want to recommend King Kong. I'm happy to. I'm happy to talk about King Kong, both the OG and PJs at some point.
Maybe not right now.
So... Yeah, but good movie. Yeah, I quite enjoyed this one, much more than I was expecting. I'll sooner rewatch Brain Dead or Lord of the Rings before I revisit this one. But this wasn't bad. This was pretty good.
Like
I
quite
liked it.
Really love.
Yeah. So, I guess we can get into ratings if we've said everything.
You must remember whenever you find it to send me a picture of that Two Towers DVD cover.
Oh yeah, I'll do that tomorrow. Yeah.
Cool.
Anyway,
yeah.
I'll give this one a 7 out of 10.
Glad you guys enjoyed it. 7 out of 10.
Yeah, very strong movie. Yeah,
I'll give
good movie.
I'll give it an 8 out of 10. Yeah, strong movie. One of the great directors.
Yeah, I'm close to an 8, but I think I'm also at a 7 right now. Yeah, really great movie. Maybe I'll give it an 8 just for Jules.
I'm looking at the 50s era pics of Orson Welles. Yeah, you're right, Jules. He is an ugly bastard. Like, Jesus.
He is an ugly motherfucker.
Yeah. It's like not exactly.
Alright,
it's not exactly like the big fat old guy from like the wine commercial, but
it's like he's in between, and it looks like so bad. Like he makes like the kind of young look work. Yeah, like look at him in fucking Touch of Evil. He looks like he just looks gross.
Let me look the Touch of Evil. That's Orson Welles.
That's Orson Welles right there. Yeah, exactly. He looks awful.
Jesus.
Anyway. Do we want to do questions? I only have one question. This is from Antonio, who asks, what are your literally me movies? So what movies where the characters are literally you?
End of Evangelion.
I can answer right out of the gate on this one.
End of Evangelion.
Oh my goodness, are you okay?
Whoa,
are you okay, man?
Well, like, not the part where Shinji has cream on his right hand after staring at Asuka a little too hard.
No, that's you. I'm thinking about it, that's you.
I prefer my waifus to be conscious and older, if that's okay. I should just state that right away. No, I've had my issues with mental health in the past, and there's a reason why I really love Anno's like style and approach to that sort of subject matter. It's like it's a way that like really gets to me and that I really understands. And like Shinji is very much a character I connect with, in the sense that like I get what he's going through and I understand and I feel the same way. So, but it's also why I really loved the Rebuild movies, because like the version of Shinji in those movies are kind of like the version of myself I'd like to strive for. So, but End of Ava, I guess that's literally me. I don't know. Well, like, what do you want me to say? Do you want me to say taxi driver and be like, yes, I too want to be a murderous taxi driver at some point? Like, well, no. So, yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna give like 3.
Okay.
Elio and Call Me by Your Name.
Here we go.
Unfortunately, I've lived that movie. The main character, I think her name is, let me look it up, from, what is this character's name? Oh yeah, Delphine from the Eric Romer film The Green Ray is perhaps one of the most relatable characters I've ever seen in a film. Like, I felt that character so bad. And, it's gonna sound cringe, Jack Sparrow. Jack Sparrow's me.
Jesus Christ.
No,
And,
that's funny.
And
That's funny.
the Joker. No. No.
Joke.
And Taxi Driver.
Ryan Gosling for
I don't know if
Drive.
there's any.
I don't know what my literally me movies would be.
Oh,
Honestly,
okay. I
like,
forgot. I want to name a couple more. Sorry, Luca. I just like pretty much most
Go.
Charlie Kaufman protagonists are literally just me. I'm just like,
Oh,
yeah,
Jesus.
yeah.
That's sad to me. You gotta get
Every
that
sad, depressed boy in a movie that's like very surreal and abstract. Yeah, that's me. Like Joel from Eternal Sunshine. That's me. Charlie Kaufman from Adaptation. That's also me. I guess those two are the ones that are like the most me. I'm not like suffering from like a mental psychosis like Michael is from Anomalisa or anything. So like at least I know I'm a little okay, you know. So
I'm not sure. I'm really not sure.
The piano teacher.
Yes, piano teacher. The zone of interest.
Oh, Jesus.
honestly, Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man, literally me. I would say that as well.
That's funny. God, I'm really struggling with this. I can
Come on,
see,
you keep
like,
you always talk about like
certain
Luca
ways-
certified movies. Like,
Yeah,
surely there's got to
talk
be
about
some
those.
Luca characters in there.
Like I guess in ways like like Call Me by Your Name as well in some ways.
Yeah.
Like that is definitely literally me. Poor Things, I think, definitely really hit me. There's a lot of stuff in that movie. Safe, Todd Haynes. That's a big one. A lot of stuff in there. Yeah. Yeah, I think there's some of that. I think The Worst Person in the World and Compartment Number is it Compartment Number 9?
Compartment number
Those movies
6.
have characters that Compartment Number 6, sorry.
Oh, the
I switched I got the wrong those films have movies that I have characters that I really sympathize with a lot.
And-
News from Home, definitely.
That's
What
more of a
about,
documentary, though, I suppose.
What about Theodore
yeah.
Twombly from Her?
Sometimes.
Nah, I
Yeah.
don't think that's me.
Yeah.
I don't think that's me.
I was gonna say I just thought of one. The Andrew Scott character from All of Us Strangers. That
Oh
is-
yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
that is also pretty much me. You can interpret
We are
that
all
however you
fucking
want.
lonely people on this podcast.
Yeah, more like the loner podcast.
yeah.
Damn.
Odesu from Old
Far
Boy,
off
yeah, that's
from a
definitely me.
relationship podcast.
Oh no.
Odesu from Old Boy. Yeah. I don't know, like every like
no.
I wanna try find some like
Some
happy ones.
good literally me characters. I suppose we're
I
all
don't know,
like
like
the
every-
little
like-
kid from Cinema Paradiso. If you wanna put a happy one.
I guess so. I was gonna say like every poor person from every Ken Loach
Oh,
film. Like that's
maybe
basically me too. So yeah.
Yeah, that's a funny answer. Yeah, I'm not sure,
The
but yeah, I think I got a few.
Faye Wong in
Oh,
Chungking
guys, what the
Express.
fuck is wrong with me? Sophie from Aftersun.
Yeah, I'm surprised you didn't bring that one up.
That is the most literally me. Sorry, I completely blanked. Yeah, Sophie from Aftersun. That's my answer. The things that me and that girl have been through, is crazy similar. It is absolutely crazy similar. That's my answer. There we go.
The,
We
Okay.
did it.
I
We
got
did
a
it.
Main-
happy one. Do you guys wanna have
Oh, yeah.
sorry, Jules, go ahead.
Yeah, go. Oh, I was gonna do
I was
another
gonna say, I have a
kind of
happy
sad one. Actually, no. I have a happy one and a sad one because they're both from the
Okay,
same movie
go
and they're
ahead.
kind of the same character.
Sure.
So I was gonna say
Go ahead.
Charlie Chaplin, his character, the clown in and also the other girl whose name I'm struggling to remember from the film Limelight, directed by Charlie Chaplin. So yeah,
Wow, okay.
a happy and a sad character. So yeah, do yours
Yeah.
now, Timmy.
I have a happy one because I know I've just said sad, depressed boys. I guess this is also kind of sad if you think about it, but you know, it's a good kind of sad. I was gonna say Kiki from Kiki's Delivery Service. I would say that's a literally me
I
kind
think
of
Yeah, that's a
character.
good
I
one.
think that's
So,
more uplifting, though.
so
Yeah.
I guess I don't. It's not a literally me now, but it's a literally me character I hope to be in the future. I really hope I become like a dad,
That
I
doesn't
really hope I get to
count.
be a dad like the
Okay.
dad
I
from
hope
My Neighbor
to.
Totoro. Like he seems like a really like cool ass dad that I hope to be myself one day if I ever have kids or whatever. Like he seems like a
I
chill
hope to
dude.
be the
I
Michael
want to be that
Stolberg.
guy.
I hope I get to be
Aw.
Patrick Bateman.
Drive.
I gotta
guys,
return some
drive,
videotapes.
drive.
Ryan Gosling, literally me.
Like,
Guys, Ryan Gosling
Okay,
from
I
Blade
got one
Runner,
more
that's
question.
literally me.
This is just from
Okay,
me
go
because I
ahead.
realized the other day
yes.
that we've never actually answered this question on the podcast, even though we've been doing this for like quite a while now. So this is from me. Who is your favorite actor, if you have one? Yeah, we've never done this
I don't
question,
know.
surprisingly.
Tilda
Joaquin
Swinton.
Phoenix.
I was gonna say my two now. But
Tilda Swinton or Julianne Moore?
I was gonna say my two ones that I like the most are cliche answer, but Robert De Niro and Tony Leung are my two favorites, and also probably Julianne
Yeah, Robert
Moore
De
as
Niro.
well.
I like. You could objectively say Robert De Niro might be one of the greatest actors in the world. You can objectively say
Oh yeah,
that.
for sure, definitely
Yeah.
one of the greats.
Yeah, obviously.
For me personally,
Marlon
I
Brando.
If I had to say male, actors, I would say so female, Tilda Swinton, Julianne Moore, easily. Those are my two favorite actors of all time. And then I would have to say, I mean, like obviously you gotta fucking say Philip Seymour Hoffman. You
Yeah,
can't
Yes,
of course.
yes.
You can't not. Yeah. And also, I really love Gael Garcia Bernal. I
Yeah.
think he does incredible stuff.
Mhm.
He's fantastic. I really love him. Yeah.
I think
In terms of
fucking
yeah.
I was just gonna say like both ironically and unironically, I think Nicolas Cage is one of the best actors like ever. Like I'm not even
Oh, yeah.
joking when I say that. Like I
Definitely.
mean I guess I kind of am, but at the same
Maybe not
time
ever,
like
but like he's one of the best of
Well-
his generation.
yeah, because like for me Nicolas Cage is the type of person who just commits 100% to everything, regardless of the quality of the movie, regardless of what kind of movie it is. Like he goes full all way. Like his performance in like Face Off, for example, very different from something like say like I don't know Adaptation, but it's like still the same level of commitment where it's like only Nicolas Cage could have just like brought that level of energy to that specific character, if you know what I mean. So yeah, like I fucking love
I'd
Nicolas
say
Cage a lot.
Jean-Pierre Léaud just for that 400 Blows performance. Like there's never been anything. Actually, no, I got another one as well. Elliot Gould. I love Elliot Gould and his This is just for like the films he did with like Robert Altman, like California Split and like Long Goodbye and MASH and stuff. But he's also really good in other stuff. Like he's in Ocean's 11 and whatnot. He's awesome. I love him.
I think
That's cool.
Choi Min-sik and Song Kang-ho are like legitimately some of the best actors working today. Not just
Oh,
in Korea,
amazing.
just like in general, like
Yeah,
some of the
just in
best.
general.
Like, there's a reason why like Park Chan-wook and Bong Joon-ho are like keep sharing them with each other because they're the best. Like, what else are you
Marlon
gonna do?
Brando, I mean,
you know.
obviously.
In terms of female actresses, I really, really am liking what Emma Stone is doing these days. Like her, like the roles that she picks is just like
Great.
phenomenal, finesse, good,
This is
good,
kind
good
of
stuff.
like
Keep doing your thing, you know.
Like a joke answer, but not really. Like he's not one of my favorites, but there's like a weird spot in my heart for Tom Cruise. I can't say
Yeah,
No,
what
I,
it
honestly,
is.
I
I
understand.
agree.
I get
But,
that.
like-
I get that.
I
I
agree
get
on
that.
that.
100%.
Yeah, like even though he's like so
I'm
fucking
100% on that train.
Scientologist piece of shit, like there's like a weird spot in it. It's like come on.
He's
it's-
also
it's
just like
Tom
a
Cruise,
cool
you
guy.
know,
Yeah, it's like when you go to
Yeah.
see a movie, it's like, oh,
Yeah,
it's Tom
just
Cruise.
like-
Like it's just like it's gonna
Like
be
you gotta
fun.
give him, you
Yeah.
gotta give him a lot of credit. Like he's the one who's putting himself in a lot of those dangerous stunts, like in those Mission Impossible movies. You know, like so you gotta give him credit. He really, when he commits to like an action movie, he really, really commits. Like I saw Collateral for the first time a couple of weeks ago. fantastic performance. Like when he really gives a shit, he goes all in, and it's great, you know. But nowadays he just plays running Tom Cruise, and that's the extent of his character. So, you know, I miss when he did Eyes Wide Shut and Magnolia and all this other stuff. So, but what you gonna do? Like no joke, like I think like Kate Winslet might be one of my I was gonna say Kate Winslet might be one of my favorite like female actresses, like, and I'm not just saying that because we just saw
Yeah,
Heavenly
Kate
Creatures. Like Kate Winslet like is
amazing.
amazing. I think she's like one of the best actresses
incredible.
ever.
Yeah,
I got another female one. You guys know Catherine Deneuve? French actress. She's in Umbrellas of Cherbourg, and I just watched her in Belle de Jour. She's in like Repulsion and stuff, and she's in Dancer in the Dark. That's maybe you guys would know her from that.
Oh, okay,
yeah,
that sounds
yeah.
more
She's in
familiar.
Young Girl. Yeah, Jacques Demy.
Oh, God.
Films with him. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Bloody Willem Dafoe.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
yeah. You can't forget
definitely.
about Willem.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. Can't
Yeah.
forget.
Yeah,
I was gonna say
amazing.
Kate Blanchett. Like,
People,
also
one of my friends,
phenomenal
like
actress.
I mentioned to
Yeah.
him like I mentioned to him like I think like Willem Dafoe is like one of like the best actors working today, and he like looked at me funny because he was like he only knows him from like Green Goblin. I was like,
Spider-Man.
nah, man, it's
Yeah.
like he's doing like every project he's in pretty much like the last few years has been like interesting. I think at least that I've seen him in. I'm glad he's out of his like Hollywood kind of villain thing where he's just like he's just typecast as like the
I would say
you
he's
know
still
Speed
in that
2
phase.
Green Goblin.
I would say
he's kind of
still in
known
that
for it, but he's
phase.
also like he's still, but he's doing more interesting stuff now. He's not just doing
You
that.
know who I
Yeah,
really
I guess
like,
that's true.
But like, it's really like the specific roles that call. I guess both of them are in, like with hyper specific roles. Sam Neill and Laura Dern are really great.
Oh, Laura Dern is
Oh,
amazing.
the people in Jurassic
Yeah, I
Park.
know,
into
but
an
like they're
incidents.
perfect in that
Yeah.
movie. Like, and also Sam Neill in Possession is crazy.
Amazing.
And also
Amazing.
fucking, Isabella
Isabella's Johnny, yeah,
I
that's
forget
a
her surname.
essential. She's
Yes,
amazing.
But yeah, absolutely amazing.
Oh, I'm gonna say something. I'm gonna say someone as well. Ethan
Sure.
Hawke. I think Ethan Hawke's like one of the best actors working right now.
Sure, why
Yeah,
not?
why
I think he's
not?
absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
I said Kate Blanchett, right? Like,
Cool, that's some actors.
did you guys say anything? Yeah, I was
Yeah,
gonna say
yeah,
Kate
yeah,
Blanchett.
obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On the topic of Willem Dafoe, speaking of the Willem Dafoe, Robert Pattinson, I think he's proven to be a very, very talented actor, and I pretty much get excited when he's in a movie. So, yeah. And I guess Kristen
Yeah.
Stewart as well. I forgot on the topic of Twilight, she's also proven to be a very talented actor. I still haven't
She's
seen
doing some interesting stuff. She's in.
what was
She's
the
gonna be in
movie
the
that she was
new
in?
but I don't think like she's like
Love Lies Bleeding.
fully like
Yeah.
one of the best.
Oh, she's not Robert Pattinson.
I think she's
tier
doing a
for
lot of
you.
interesting stuff though. She's gonna be in the new Panos
Yeah.
Cosmatos. That's the guy who made Mandy. Oh yeah, and by the way, Oscar
Oh,
Isaac as
okay.
well. I think he's doing a lot of really cool shit.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's fine.
My
Michael
absolute favorites
Fassbender.
though.
Colin Farrell.
Michael Fassbender's been on a kind of like, aside from The Killer, he hasn't really done much stuff lately.
Yeah, that's why like I was really excited for The Killer, not just because it was David Fincher, but because Fassbender was just gonna be in a movie in general. And I think when he really tries, he really gives it his all. You know, like 12 Years a Slave, his performance was amazing. You know, like when he
Shame.
really put. Yeah, I mean, I haven't seen Shame or Hunger, but I'm assuming he's just fantastic in both of those, you know? Like, even, like, when he first started out doing X-Men shit, like, he genuinely, like, gave a really great performance in, like, First Class or whatever. So, like, I like Fassbender. And then, like, James McAvoy, I think is, like, he's, like, the best part in the 2 M. Night movies he was in. So, he was, like, literally the only thing that wasn't shitty. So,
Yeah, I mean, yeah. My two favorites, though, absolutely, is, fucking Robert De Niro and Tony Leung.
Yeah.
I'll just stick with Nicolas Cage and
my two
move on with my life.
Julianne Moore, Tilda Swinton. Yes.
Nice. Apparently,
I'd say I put Julianne Moore in my top three, actually. Alongside De Niro and Leung.
who's the guy who plays the main character in like all of Akira Kurosawa's films, like Mifune or so?
Toshiro
whatever his
Mifune?
name-
Yeah, he should be in there. He's
Toshiro
great.
Mifune. Yeah, apparently he's really good. I still have yet to see a Akira
He's
Kurosawa
amazing.
film. I can't wait to watch one of his movies. I'm really excited. So, yeah. Hey, it happens. There are a lot of directors I just never got around to seeing their stuff. I still haven't seen a Tarkovsky film. I still haven't seen a Truffaut film. I still haven't seen
I'm
the
younger
guy
than
who
you, and
did
I've
this.
seen all this shit though.
Yeah, I still haven't seen the Seventh Seal guy. What was his name?
Ingmar Bergman.
Ingmar
Yeah, that guy.
Bergman.
I haven't
Yeah.
seen a Bergman. Yeah, there's like a ton of directors I still haven't seen their
That's fair.
movies, and I would like
There's
to
a
at
lot
some
of Bergman
point.
films though. I just watched Cries and Whispers the other day, which was really good, by the way.
Yeah, and there are some I really
Yeah.
can't wait. Like I've
Anyway.
only seen like 2.5 like Alfred Hitchcock movies, and I really like the ones I saw. I can't wait to watch
Hitchcock's a
more.
master,
So
yeah.
yeah, he hitched my cock. So Luca, give your rec so we can go home already.
Yeah, Jesus.
Yeah.
I got things
Like
to do
1
today.
a.m. for Jules. Shame.
It's
Okay.
12:45. Anyway, yeah. So
Guys,
what are you choosing?
I think I'm gonna do a double bill here for a double bill here
Okay.
for us.
Ooh.
It's gonna
Yeah,
be
we
a
already
big,
know.
It's gonna be a big one, but I honestly don't care. These are two of my absolute favorite films of all time. Both kind of long movies following multiple characters and how their journeys are intertwined.
Oh, okay. So I'm just gonna add Magnolia.
All right.
Let's do Magnolia, Boogie Nights, double feature, baby.
Oh God,
My
these are
God.
so long. They're so long.
These are so good.
Yeah, what the
They're
fuck do you mean
good.
they're so long, bro?
No,
they're-
I'm not complaining.
Okay.
It's just my time is already so limited as it is, and they're so long,
No.
so I have to
Says
like
the,
make time.
the motherfucker who recommended all of Evangelion. We can
That
take
was
a
a-
little break
Yeah,
if we want
exactly.
to. We can,
No,
we can,
it's
like,
fine. It's fine.
No,
it's
no.
fine. It's okay. I'm more than happy to make time for these. Yeah, some of these will. So I've never seen Magnolia, so this will be a first
Okay,
watch for
well
me.
then
But
you
I've
can't
already
say
seen
it's
Boogie
so
Nights.
long. Magnolia feels like 5
Yeah.
minutes. Okay.
Well, I know
like-
it's 3 hours long. That's why I was like, "Oh my god, these are so long." But Boogie Nights I have seen before, so I'm looking forward to revisiting that one too. So, but is there any particular reason why you chose those two Paul Thomas Anderson films and not other sections of PTA films? Or
It's so exciting.
I think they're just the ones that I like rewatch the most scenes from, and also, I mean, Magnolia for one is just one of my absolute favorite films of all time. It's probably top 3 for me. I genuinely love Magnolia so much. So that's why. And I recommended it because I was like, there's no ways Timmy is going to die on this God Green Earth without seeing that movie.
Exactly.
I mean, that's really
why
what this- That's really what this podcast's purpose is at this point. Just like you two trying to
Exactly,
get me
yeah.
to watch movies that is required before I get killed. So
And also,
you know.
like,
Exactly.
they're both the PTA movies that just, like, follow multiple different characters, but their stories all are interconnected by the
I thought you were about to.
Um,
I thought you were about to
Yeah.
recommend Shortcuts, and I was like, wait, but
No,
you haven't seen it
no.
yet.
but I could have. Yeah. But yeah, those are the two that I decided to recommend. I don't think.
Okay.
Magnolia is definitely my favorite PTA movie. I'm not sure if I like Boogie Nights more than some others, but I still really love it.
I think I like The
Yeah.
Master and There Will Be Blood more. I think those are my favorites, but I haven't revisited
There Will
either
Be
of them
Blood
in a
and
very long
Phantom
time.
Thread are his
I
best.
think for me,
Okay.
it's
I think-
Magnolia and Phantom Thread.
I think The Master might be my favorite PTA, but I'll have to rewatch. I haven't seen it in a very long time, but I rewatched. I saw that movie like 3 times when I was in high school. I was like, this is the shit. I get Scientology now. So
Do you guys know
Yeah.
that out of all the films we've covered on this podcast, like the year that has appeared the most across all of them, the recommendations has been 1997. We're up to
Yeah,
5 films from that year
1997?
now.
7 is goaded. That's why.
what else have we talked? I know,
Yeah, we've
like
done-
I think the
we've-
the
We've done
90s
the
is the most
Castle,
popular.
Perfect. We've done the Castle, Perfect Blue, End of Evangelion, Boogie Nights, and Titanic.
Oh, okay. That's interesting. I didn't really think about it like that. I guess I'm gonna recommend a 97 movie then at some point. So,
We need to do more
another
stuff from the
one.
70s. We've been lacking.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
there are some
what's
70s
this? We've only
movies
got
I
done Apocalypse
genuinely...
Now, Jean Dielman, and fucking Belladonna of Sadness. Hell no.
Your favorite, the best one. Okay, well, if you don't want to
And we
be
need to go
spoiled
back further
for...
than 58.
Yeah, if you don't want to be spoiled for Boogie Nights and Magnolia, directed by Paul Thomas Anderson, watch them because we're going to spoil them for next time. That's it.
Yeah.
Another day, another dollar, another one bites the dust. Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye bye. Hit you with a brick. Bye bye.